found a chest on the floor of a dilapidated wooden cabin the second I woke up, and the second I touched it, Blue Star was gone, and 8 billion of us were on the mist continent. Then the azure treasure chest cracked green light across my face, an elite homestead spring eye pouring sweet spring water that raises my constitution every sip. By the time a tiger cub named Big Orange grew into an elite sabertooth at my side, the office grinder had a kingdom. Before we go any further, like the video and subscribe. The channel runs on you. To get here, I had to start as nothing. Let me show you that morning. A voice without gender or feeling pours into my head, congratulating every survivor on at least being alive. The voice tells me this is the mist continent, that Blue Star sent us all here before its own destruction, and that from this moment on we live on this continent until we die. It tells me to use wisdom, the greatest of human virtues, because every status and bank account and brand of cologne from the old world means nothing here. It tells me the dilapidated small wooden cabin around me is the only thing I have to lean on for survival. Blue Star destroyed, transmigrated, mist continent, survive. The questions pile on each other like bamboo shoots after spring rain. 1 second ago I was watching the New Year's Day fireworks, the city authorities' biggest display of the year, the largest shell hitting the sky at the exact moment my vision went black. And the next second I am here. I force myself to breathe. After several long breaths, I get my pulse down to something close to human. The cabin around me has gaps wide enough to put a leg through, more thatched hut than shelter, the wind sliding in damp and cold, and carrying the distant roars of things I do not want to meet. I pull my trench coat tighter and tell myself it does anything, knowing it does not. The voice cuts back in before I can think any further. It calls us humans meant to be destroyed with our home planet and tells us to face our situation. It lays out the rules one at a time. First, the cabin is everything. The foundation that lets us avoid extreme weather, savage beasts, and the unknown horrors hidden in the mist, so gather materials and upgrade the shelter. Second, night is when the native creatures hunt, and night is most of the day on the mist continent, so guard the few hours of daylight. Third, the climate of this continent will kill humans on its own, so harsh weather is a problem every survivor must face directly. Fourth, the communicator at my side is the only way to talk to other survivors, trade with them, and learn about the world. Last, Blue Star spent the last of itself to leave each of us a gift, so cherish it. The voice closes by telling us we are no longer the strong ones, that we are weak and helpless here, and that the only path is to unite and face the continent together. I press my hands against my temples and sit with it for a long time before I let it land. Everyone from Blue Star is on this continent now. Everyone. The only light in the room pulls my eye to it. I crouch and pick up what has to be the communicator, a slab the size and shape of a tablet but built out of something I cannot identify, seamless and warm to the touch. The kind of object that clearly does not need a charger. A stone axe lies beside it, standard issue. The communicator labels it a crude stone axe, an axe made by primitive methods. Low sharpness, easily damaged, barely usable. Half the result for twice the effort. I leave the axe and tap the communicator awake. A weather page is the first thing I see. Today is clear. 8 to 15 degrees Celsius, sunrise at 10 in the morning, daylight only 7 hours, with the system noting that this is the warmth before a cold current, and that I should hoard survival supplies fast. Even knowing the days are short, seeing it laid out cold makes me feel it for the first time. The time in the corner reads 9:05 in the morning, just under an hour until light, so I dig into the rest of the system. The human chat channel grabs me. World, regional, friends, private. The world chat counter sits at just over 8 billion, which matches old Earth's population exactly, and the regional chat counter shows 4.8 billion, which is exactly the number for Asia. So Blue Star routed us by continent. The regional chat also lists distances between survivors, and the shortest one I can see is over 50 kilometers. The math of it is brutal. No cars, no planes, no daylight to speak of, and a 50-kilometer minimum just to find your nearest neighbor on a continent buried in fog. Meeting another human is going to be its own quest. The world chat is already a wall of panic by the time I open it. Strangers howling for a prankster to confess. Someone named Songche begging President Wang for forgiveness. A man asking whether this is an alien invasion or a film set. Another telling him to stop howling and accept it. A third saying something is scratching at his door right now, and what does he do? After a minute, the tone shifts from denial to relatives, because chat names default to real names with no edit option, and half the channel turns into people searching for their parents and siblings by name. I know my message will drown in the flood the second it hits, but I send it anyway, asking my parents to private message me the moment they see it. The window cools down for a minute afterward, and tells me I have 5 daily messages left. So there is a budget. I make a note to save 1 or 2 for emergencies. What the channel tells me, mostly by watching it, is that everyone's clock matches mine, no time zones, and that the entire population of Blue Star is here. With Blue Star gone, there is no going back, only the communicator's tiny familiar glow in a foreign night. I scroll. People propose forming settlements and other people roast them for it, because the minimum distance between survivors makes a settlement physically impossible. A guy complains about transmigrating at the start of the Lunar New Year just as he reached his hometown, never even seeing his family. Another one brags he was getting a massage at a club and had already taken his pill, so at least he is warm. Someone tells him being fired up will help him resist the cold. Someone else reports it is already 0 where they are and asks how cold the cold front is going to be. The continent is huge enough to have different climates in different regions. That much is clear. I watch a long time. I see famous people in there. Politicians, movie stars, business tycoons. All of them got the same Azure treasure chest invitation everyone else did. The chat is finding its rhythm. Survival show veterans start sharing wilderness tips, though no one knows yet whether Blue Star tricks apply on the Mist Continent. I read every word anyway. I am an e-commerce operator with 60-hour work weeks burned into my bones, a qualified corporate slave, and my hands-on survival skill is 0 outside of armchair shows. I need every piece of theory I can get. I look for a chair. The light from the communicator sweeps the room. Empty. Nothing. My foot kicks something solid as I move. I drop into a crouch and the sight of it shocks the panic right out of me. I love Blue Star. The Azure treasure chest, special grade, a gift built from Blue Star's own foundation. The last care the home planet gave humanity. The note says any item can come out. Quality randomized across 3 grades, common, elite, and excellent. About the size of a nightstand, pure blue, exactly where I would have stepped on it 5 times without noticing. I mutter a Buddha's blessing and snap it open. Green light blooms across my face. Hope. My gaming reflexes light up because a colored drop is at minimum not common grade. The light orb in the chest reads as a Homestead Spring Eye at elite grade, a miniature spring that flows 300 milliliters a day of sweet spring water, with a slight constitution improving effect, sealed inside the orb for an hour or until I crush it open. Water beats food in a survival ranking because a person dies of thirst in 3 days, but starves only in 5 or 6, so I crush the orb on the spot. The spring eye materializes onto the dirt floor, a circular stone the size of a watermelon shaped like a millstone with a groove around the rim and a small hole in the center. The groove is already brimming with about 300 milliliters of clear water that overflows as I watch. I lean in and take a long sip. Sweet, a faint clean fragrance, and something else. Something I never knew water could be. After a few mouthfuls, my whole body feels slightly lighter, as if it had been carrying something I never noticed. The world chat is on its second wave now, this one about chest contents. Someone got a family-sized bottle of cola and complains. Another guy says he got a single raw potato, and that the cola complainer should shut up. A third announces he got bread. The cola guy snaps that bread is nothing, and the bread guy posts a photo of his cabin floor carpeted in 100 loaves. Someone else says he got only an iron pickaxe, common grade, reforged from scrap iron, the only merit being sturdy. And another voice corrects him that an iron pickaxe is great because the system's stone axe will not get him stone at all and barely cuts wood. Then the chat detonates. A handle named HOARD posts the description of his chest reward. A flame burst grade saber. Excellent grade. A great saber fused with the magic of the Mist Continent. Extraordinarily sharp, accompanied by flame at speed. And the note says that even an ordinary person holding it has fighting power against danger. The chat loses its mind. Someone asks if this is a game. Someone else snaps back that it is not a game and it is not the reality we knew either. After HOARD's saber, a cascade of excellent items follows from other lucky survivors. Explosive poison mushroom seeds, plant grenades that explode on contact with poison gas, spreading across a 10-meter radius. Assault jacket design blueprint, a reusable plan whose grade scales with materials. Fog-piercing goggles, excellent grade, made from special crystals, negating the mist's effect on vision out to 50 meters. The fog-piercing goggles are the one I cannot stop looking at, because the goggles tie directly to the central mystery of this world. Then someone posts a light tank design blueprint, excellent grade, 20 tons, 105mm cannon, requires 1,000 iron and 50 beast hide, with a note saying I have neither shells nor fuel for it. A combat machine from Blue Star, useless to whoever pulled it. Even fully built, 99% of humans on this continent have never sat in a tank, let alone driven one. The blueprint tells me a clean truth, that an excellent grade does not equal practicality, and it kills my envy of the others. My elite Homestead Spring Eye is more useful than someone else's light tank. The communicator says 9:50 in the morning. The night, which had felt impossible to budge, pulls back over a few minutes like a curtain. The world reveals what it has been hiding. The sky is bright. I look through the cracks in the cabin wall before I open the door. Low grass, scattered trees, terrain sloping down. I think I am on a mountain. The communicator buzzes against my chest. The Mist Continent announcement welcomes every survivor to the first day and tells us iron treasure chests and bronze treasure chests will begin dropping today, with one iron treasure chest guaranteed near every shelter as a newbie gift pack, and a reminder that bitter winter is coming and we should hoard. A guaranteed chest. That is real news. Before I rush outside, I check the cabin itself. Shelter. Dilapidated small wooden cabin, 8 square meters barely shields wind and rain, unsuitable for living, no facilities, upgrade requires 100 wood and 50 stone. The system is being honest. The upgrade has to be the day. One goal for every survivor. because the alternative is sleeping in a shack that wears me down before any beast finds me. The world chat is exploding all over again. A guy in a desert with nothing but cacti and sand asks how he is supposed to upgrade. Another one in a vast prairie says he has not seen a single piece of wood, only a few llamas, and someone shouts at him to go get them. The prairie guy fires back that the llamas are bigger than cows, and asks how he is supposed to take them down with a stone axe and a Demetia battle cry. Heo Ajun chimes in that he is in a forest, trees everywhere. His saber is already thirsty. I tuck the communicator away. I am not here to chat. I am here to gauge whether it is safe to step outside. I take the stone axe and push the door open. No mist in the 100 meters around the shelter. Exactly as the system promised. The level 1 safe zone runs 100 meters out. The thin mist zone from 200 to 1,000 meters with manageable danger and light mist. And the thick fog zone beyond 1,000 meters where visibility is nearly zero and the danger is rated extreme. Without fog-piercing goggles, most survivors are capped at 1,000 meters. I move downhill, away from the front door, knuckles white on the axe. After I cross into the thin mist zone, I mark a tree every 100 meters with a chop, because visibility in the thin mist is no better than a couple hundred meters and getting lost would end me. The forest is silent except for my breath and my pant legs brushing the weeds. About 900 meters out, the faint sound of moving water reaches me. A river means fresh water and fish, and even a place to wash, and even with a spring eye, I would never refuse extra water. I push harder. A body of water comes into view at the edge of the thick fog zone, but the breeze hits my face and the smell is wrong. Salt. Fish. The sea. I am on an island. The realization lands hard. If I am on an island, the odds of another survivor being here are tiny, and even if there is one, I will probably never close the distance. A wave of loneliness comes through me before I can stop it. I tell myself it is too early to dwell. Surviving comes first. I turn back on a slightly different route, since the path I came by had no chests. The azure chest gave me a taste of how big the upside is, and I want food this trip. Bitter winter is coming and my stomach is on borrowed time. A flash of blue-green metal glints on a tree ahead. Bronze. The terrain is uphill on the way back, which is the only reason I see it. The ancient saying that Counter-Strike CTs never look up almost cost me a chest. I jog over and find a coconut tree with 2 giant coconuts the size of winter melons hanging off the branches, and a bronze treasure chest the system has dropped on a branch. Double prize. I tuck the axe into my waist, climb, secure my balance, and knock the chest down to the ground before I hack at the coconut stems. The stone axe is so blunt it takes 7 or 8 swings to cut through each one. Both coconuts thud down. The bronze treasure chest description says it is exclusive to survivors. Other creatures cannot open it, and it can yield 3 common items, 2 elite items, or with a small probability 1 excellent. My hands are trembling when I lift the lid. Blue light blooms. After it fades, there is a single bead the size of a thumb sitting at the center of the chest. 1 drop. Possibly. Excellent. The bead is a water purification bead at excellent grade. A precious bead with purification power that turns any water source into drinking grade quality at 100 milliliters per minute, with a note that the purified water's original characteristics are enhanced. I shout out loud. Just as I was lamenting that seawater was useless to me, I get a natural water purifier, and the enhancement clause means the spring ice water gets even better when I run it through the bead. I dump the bronze chest's last sparkles, jog down to the sea, scoop half a chest of seawater, drop the purification bead inside, and start the timer. The system labels the seawater common grade, salty, undrinkable. Half a chest is around 2,500 milliliters, 25 minutes to purify. I head back to the shelter and leave the 2 coconuts at the foot of the tree for the second trip. By the time I am back in the cabin, the chest reads as purified seawater at elite grade, seawater purified by a mysterious power. The salt stripped while minerals and trace elements remain, and the description notes a slight antibacterial and anti-inflammatory effect. Common seawater into elite drinking water. On a continent where the second most lethal thing after bitter winter is infection from a scratch, this is God tier. I cup a sip and rub the rest on the back of my hand where I scrape the skin, climbing the tree. Then I set the bead inside the spring eyes groove to upgrade the spring water itself. Curious how elite water reacts to the bead when seawater jumped a whole grade. I cannot stop and watch. The trip back to the sea is about half an hour round trip. The coconuts are heavy enough that I have to carry them one at a time, and the daylight clock is shrinking. While I am at it, I scout for other coconut trees and find exactly 1 more. 3 coconuts on the branches, but it is going to be tomorrow's problem. I am down to under 3 hours of light. I crack open a coconut and find a surprisingly small amount of meat, 2 normal meals worth, but the inside is brimming with coconut water. I wolf the meat down and head back out with the axe to chop. Half an hour of pounding away on a tree thick as my thigh gives me 16 units of wood and a wet shirt. I drop onto the cut trunk to breathe. 16 wood for 30 minutes of work, my back already screaming, and the math says I will get maybe 30 wood an hour if I keep this pace, which means 3 hours minimum for 100 wood, which is theoretical before I subtract rest, and the haul back to the shelter. Most survivors will spend 4 of their 7 daylight hours just on water and food scouting, leaving only 3 for wood, which is barely enough for anything. I get back up and start on another tree. 20 minutes later, I have 14 more wood. The numbers are awful. I make a note to try trading water for better tools tonight on the exchange. Then I stop chopping because something I missed clicks into place. The announcement said 1 iron treasure chest is guaranteed near every shelter as the newbie gift pack. The bronze chest I found on the coconut tree was not the newbie chest, which means there is still an iron treasure chest somewhere within range of my cabin. I spit at the felled tree and tell it chopping is for chumps and that I am going chest hunting instead. Then I drag the 2 cut trees back to the shelter anyway, because 60-hour work weeks have wired me to finish tasks, even when I want to quit. I am wheezing by the time the wood is stacked. The corporate grind life has ruined me and I am going to need to exercise. Under an hour to dark, I gulp coconut water and head out fast. The front of the cabin is explored. The left is the chop site, so this time I go right, loop around the back, and come home. I am looking for a chest and any other resource, ideally stone for the upgrade. Or food. The forest gives me neither. Just trees and tall thatch. The thin mist zone gets damp on me. My face slick with condensed moisture, my clothes sticking. Then I spot something off. A fallen tree waist thick snapped at a height of about 2 meters. The trunk's break still fresh. No more than 2 days old. I scan for danger and creep up. The fall surface has heavy shattering, not a clean cut. I look at the cracks closer and my pupils contract. A palm print. Human-shaped. Pressed into the broken wood. The print's size and position put the owner at 3 meters tall minimum. Something that can knock down a tree with one slap has been within range of my shelter inside the last 2 days. A creature. A savage. I cannot rule anything out. My heart goes hard against my ribs and rationality flees for a second. I breathe through it. The other side of this is that I now know it exists, which means I get to plan instead of die surprised. The fact that I found tracks at all is the small mercy. Around me, the forest has gone quiet enough that the atmosphere alone is starting to feel like danger. Half an hour to dark. I head home, looping behind the cabin on the way back, hoping for a surprise. No more tracks, no chest. I clear the thin mist zone within sight of the shelter, and sigh at the joke of trying to find a chest the size of a nightstand inside a 1,000-meter radius. About 7 or 8 meters from the cabin, a glint of dark metal hooks the corner of my eye. There it is, tucked right against the back of the cabin, practically rubbing the wooden wall. I had walked past it every time I came home through the front. The bronze chest being hidden on a branch had wired me to expect the next one would be hidden too, but the system literally put the newbie chest at my door. Iron treasure chest, survivor exclusive, 3 common items with a small chance of 1 elite. I hug it inside, the cabin door creaks shut behind me, and the panic from the giant palm print loses a half step of its edge. It is dark. The communicator's soft glow is the only light. I peel off the damp trench coat. The shelter is still cold, and my nerves are coming down off the day's high. Time for chests again. The bronze chest gave me a purification bead, but no food and no warmth, and the temperature drop on this continent ignores blue star physics. Daytime top 10 Celsius, but the weather forecast for the evening reads 2 to 5 Celsius and falling. The cold combined with damp clothes already has me shivering. The iron chest opens with none of the colored fanfare. The lowest tier chest has no flair, but I dig through it eagerly anyway. 3 items. A folded air conditioning quilt takes up most of the space with 2 glowing orbs resting on top. The quilt is a thin layer but warm and soft, and I peel off my wet hoodie and wrap myself in it before I crush the orbs. 30 wood and 30 stone respectively. No food, but 2 stacks of upgrade material I had no other way to get since this island gave me no stone all day, and after 1 hour of personal chopping I had 30 wood. I look around the cabin and take stock. Logs 4 or 5 meters long, stacked along the entrance. 60 units total, half the floor space. 20 stone the size of bricks next to them. 2 empty chests in the corner opposite the door. One holding 2,500 milliliters of purified seawater. The other my drying clothes. The azure chest is tucked under me as a stool. 2 giant coconuts in the far corner, one of which has its meat eaten half away. The millstone-shaped spring eye sits next to them with the purification bead resting in its groove. The spring water has changed. Before the bead, the sweet spring water was elite grade, 300 milliliters a day. Slight constitution improvement. After the bead, the system relabels it sweet spring water at excellent grade. The already fine water further improved. Drinking it improves constitution and conditions the body. And the note is the system writing a joke at me. That mom no longer has to worry about me getting sick. Looking at my little hoard, I let myself feel something close to good. The only hole is food. Coconut meat barely staves off hunger, and a real staple would change my life. I open the communicator, and the world chat is alive again, because 7 hours of daylight against 17 of dark turns the channel into the only place to feel like a person. Loneliness, longing, and panic stack on the mist continent in a way they never could even on Blue Star with its endless entertainment. A student wants someone to send him fried chicken and cola and beam him back to Blue Star. Someone playing the first emperor demands a bowl of pig's trotter rice as military rations and promises to ennoble the supplier when he conquers the continent. Another voice says stop talking about food because the talking is making them hungry, and someone else says it is not only food, the thing that was scratching at their door last night is back. A self-appointed advisor tells the SABERS one to peek through the crack at it because as long as he is brave enough, even Sadako can be put on maternity leave. Then a guy posts that he is by a river near a sweet potato patch, with food and water sorted, and he is figuring out fire drilling to roast them. The chat loses it. People accuse him of stepping in every pile of dog poop he could find. Someone on a cliff begs him for water. Someone else offers wood for water. A latecomer calls him father, and a voice clarifies they are 19 years old. I lurk and read. Joking with goofy strangers is the only stress relief on the continent. Something is missing though, and after a moment I figure out what it is. I edit a post and attach a picture and fire it off. I write that I had a thin day too, just 2 giant coconuts the size of winter melons, and that I will somehow scrape by on coconut meat and coconut juice. Image attached. 2 large coconuts. The replies come in a flood of question marks. A guy accuses me of humble bragging and says he will crawl through the network cable and hack me. Another guy calls me his real father and asks for a cup of coconut juice and adds a crying emoji. The corner of my mouth lifts. I would tell you it felt good and you would believe me. Quiet wealth does not work on the mist continent. There is no one here to plot against me, and a little showing off gets me emotional supply for the night. Most people are worse off than me, and not from cruelty but from the simple human satisfaction of seeing that. The night gets a little easier. The chat settles after the joking dies down. Trade start. 1 unit of wood for 100 milliliters of water, who wants 5 portions. 2 wood for 100 milliliters. 3 wood. A voice cuts in to ask the bidders to stop driving the price up because plenty of survivors spawn by rivers and the water supply is going to be effectively endless. The market is chaos. People panicked all day are afraid they will not get water by night, and resellers are stoking the price on purpose. Someone announces bad news, that the exchange caps every survivor at 3 trades a day, buying or selling. I jump to the exchange and confirm it. The limit is brutal. People in good locations who wanted to coast on their natural resource pile run straight into the wall, because even owning an entire river will not exempt them from chopping their own wood. The cap also births a new profession in the chat, scalpers, who burn their own trade slots reselling water into smaller volumes. Most people lack containers, but everyone has 2 empty chests, and an empty chest holds about 5 liters of water. The chat fills up with shouts of 1 treasure chest of water for 200 wood. Some buyers complain no one has 200 wood right now, and others fire back that with over 8 billion survivors there are always lucky ones with a stockpile. After the initial bulk sales, the secondary scalpers list 150 wood for half a chest, then tertiary scalpers, until an hour later the water craze cools off and the channel starts cycling real items. I scroll. I have enough water and I am not desperate for food yet. What I want is sustainable development gear, a better axe, a self-defense weapon, traps. Sweet potato brothers, sweet potatoes are actually interesting. Not for eating, but for planting, because sweet potatoes survive in low-quality soil and yield well. Long-term cultivation has to wait until I am alive in a week, though. The first priority remains the shelter upgrade. Wood has become the de facto currency. Everyone has a ragged stone axe and at least some wood, so wood acts as a baseline coin. I am about to list some of my purified seawater for trade when the communicator buzzes with a message. The Mist Continent announcement opens with congratulations on surviving the first day, calling it a good start, then reminds me the extreme cold front is still advancing, and to gather resources for the crisis. It says every survivor has received an iron treasure chest, and many lucky people have even gotten a second iron chest or a bronze chest. The number who pulled an extra iron chest today is 56,824,825. The number who pulled a bronze chest is 1,981,280. For everyone who did not, the system issues a task. Anyone who upgrades the shelter before midnight gets a practical tool gift pack. The chat detonates. People who thought everyone got exactly 1 chest find out they missed something and rage. A guy laments cutting wood all day instead of pacing the perimeter. Someone notes that even at 56 million extra chests, that is under 1% of the total population, so the unlucky are still the overwhelming majority. A self-named African voice tells the lucky to spare them the personal attacks because they are living just fine. Another voice almost forgets the world chat has foreigners in it. The 2 bronze chest jokesters chime in playing humble, claiming a bronze is nothing special. I rein it in. Nearly 2 million bronze chests means I am not a chosen one. I need to compound my early lead, not coast on it. A new wave hits. The chat starts asking the lucky to post their drops so everyone else can ogle. After a short silence, the descriptions land, and even I am stunned. The Tiangang Big Dipper Formation Core, excellent grade, an ancient passed-down formation that integrates offense and defense, generates a 20-meter radius formation when the core is placed, reduces the effects of cold currents, gales, dust storms, and earthquakes inside the area, deals minor damage to invading creatures, and provides solid defense to anyone inside. The note from the system reads, "Your territory, your rules." The owner of the core posts in chat, a handle named Huang Jidown. He greets the channel and says he owns both the formation core and the excellent grade fog-piercing goggles from last night. He is not bragging, he says. He wants to start a survivors association. Humans should help each other on the continent. He writes, members can swap information and resources. And right now he is only recruiting high-quality allies, meaning survivors with rare resources or valuable information. No freeloaders. So Huang Jae-dung is leveraging the moment. 2 excellent grade items and 1 charismatic pitch, and he begins building a power base. If I had not found that palm print, I would not have given a second thought to defensive items or weapons. Without preparation, if I really meet the owner of that palm print, even a 1 in 10 survival is fantasy. With the purification spring water, I could buy my way into Huang Jae-dung's association. But I would rather watch first. There are going to be other associations. More items hit the chat as I think about it. Shelter expansion scroll, excellent grade. Expands the shelter's area by 10%. Expansion scales with shelter level. 1 time use per shelter. Space bracelet, excellent grade. A bracelet with a 20 cubic meter pocket space hidden inside it. The note saying I will never struggle to carry resources again. Healing potion, blueprint, elite grade. A recipe for producing healing potions. Materials hidden by the owner. Effective on internal injuries, external wounds, and common illnesses. All 3 are great, but the space bracelet is the one that turns a person into a 10-wheeler truck. The excellent grade items roll past one by one, drawing admiring noise from the channel and quietly stabilizing morale. The Mist Continent is dangerous, but powerful items exist, and that is enough for hope. After Huang Jae-dung, more leaders start forming factions, including some former officials from Blue Star. I sit with it and decide not to join. A group that cannot meet face-to-face cannot be solid. Even when my boss sat 10 feet from me at work, people slacked off. A group's power can be used, but it cannot be relied on. The only thing that survives long-term in this world is being strong enough yourself, and holding enough resources yourself. I can stay on good terms and cooperate with whatever factions form. I just cannot join, because the second I join, I will start treating the group as my safety net and forget to be my own. The bitter winter is coming, and it is going to take a fatal swing at humanity. The system handing out so many free excellent items does not warm me, it scares me. The system is being generous because it expects most of us to die. I lay out my next move. I had wanted to sharpen my axe first, meaning trade for better logging tools or self-defense items. But the system's task overrides that, because the practical tool gift pack is too good to pass on. I am 40 wood and 20 stone short. Without pickaxes in circulation, the price of stone is several times wood. I plan to trade 50 milliliters of purified spring water for 20 stone and 2 batches of 50 milliliters of purified seawater for 20 wood each. Spring water improves constitution and conditions the body and is excellent grade, so it is valued high. Purified seawater is anti-inflammatory and antibacterial and just as broadly useful. Ideally, I trade 40 wood at once and save a slot, but I cannot count on it. The system's task has jacked the price of wood and stone, and almost nobody is buying speculatively now, only out of immediate need. I decide to post the spring water first and gauge reaction. I pour the leftover juice from the cracked coconut into an empty box for later, then use the stone axe to break the coconut shell into 3 pieces I can use as water cups for sale. I list a post in the world chat, selling 50 milliliters of purified sweet spring water, pure and natural and pollution-free. Drinking it conditions the body and enhances physical constitution. Want to wear your underwear on the outside like Superman? Message me with your bid. Priority given to stone. Info attached. In private messages, the daily greeting limit is 1 per recipient, but the recipient cap is open, so a person with the energy could message 10,000 strangers. Within 3 seconds, my inbox detonates. 5 stones for 1 portion. Deal. I tell myself inwardly I would trade them my foot. 10 stones is my entire net worth, please sell to me. I do not have stones. Want to trade my original scent stockings, no photo attached. No sincerity. 15 stones. Price negotiable. A polite question about how the spring water is obtained. Then one handle catches my eye. Huang Jae-dung. He writes that he does not have stones but can trade other things and that 50 milliliters is not enough. How much do I have? The man at the top of the rankings is in my inbox. I stroke my chin and look at the spring pool, which today produced its full 300 milliliters since I drank the original early. I have 200 milliliters left, I tell him. What are you trading? He replies instantly. Fog-piercing goggles. Excellent grade. Goggles of special crystals. Vision correction baseline. 50-meter mist negation. I rub my eyes to make sure I am not seeing things. He is putting an excellent grade item up for a consumable. Both pieces are excellent grade on paper, but a reusable item tied to the central mystery of this world is not equal to a drinkable bottle of spring water. Unless his head is caught in a door, he knows the value math. So he is not stupid. Then why is he listing the goggles? I think a moment and I have a guess, but I want the goggles regardless. I tell him the item is great, but I have to prioritize my trade slots on the shelter upgrade for the gift pack. Can we trade tomorrow? He writes that he needs the spring water urgently and offers to throw in a piece of information. I look again at the spring water's note. Constitution improving, body conditioning. Drinking it sooner or later barely matters, and it would not save a life. If Huang Jae-dung were injured, A healing potion would be the better tool. I tell him information is too vague, and if he wants to brush me off with a worthless line, I cannot do anything. So let us wait until tomorrow. He replies that he will tell me first. The information is real and will absolutely bring me profit. To tell the truth, he writes, the Tiangang Big Dipper formation was not obtained from a chest. That actually startles me. The formation was always too strong for a bronze drop. I had assumed heaven-defying luck. I tell him fine, but on top of the information he has to answer one question. He asks, what question? I tell him the information first. He agrees and writes that besides the newbie iron chest, every survivor has another reward, but the second reward can only be obtained inside the thick fog zone. Once a survivor enters the thick fog zone, the reward will come to him on its own. He writes that since visibility in the thick fog zone is almost zero, a survivor must have an item to deal with the mist, otherwise he is one step from the exit and still gets lost inside. So fog-piercing goggles are important to every survivor, and I am coming out ahead in the trade. I ask him why. If the goggles are so important, he is not keeping them for himself. He asks if that is my question, and I tell him it is not. Then he tells me he cannot answer it, and that he has shown enough sincerity. The old fox keeps his mouth shut. The moment he posted the goggles for trade, I had a guess. Something happened in the thick fog. Not an item, danger, he cannot or will not enter the thick fog zone again, which is why the goggles are no longer useful to him, at least short term. That is the only reason a man like him would trade goggles like those for spring water. The thick fog zone reward itself is probably true though. Wealth is found in danger, and even with unknown risks it is worth a shot. I tell him I will trade, but he still owes me one question. He says go ahead. I ask why he is in such a hurry for the spring water. The question is the one I actually care about, because his urgency hints at a hidden use of the spring water I do not know. And if I learn it, the spring water's functionality jumps a level. He goes quiet long enough that I think he logged off. Then a long message arrives. He writes that he can tell I want the fog-piercing goggles, but I am bound by the trade limit and need the shelter upgrade first. He throws in another piece of information. A level 2 shelter unlocks 2 friend slots, and a friend can do 1 extra trade per day. Upgrade my shelter first, he says. Then we friend each other and trade the spring water for the goggles. He can only wait half an hour since I am not the only one with items of similar function. As for the question I asked, he will answer it after the trade is successful. I think a moment and agree, not because the timing is convenient, but because the analysis points to the goggles being limited in function. For reasons I do not know, he is right that I want them. I have to move on the materials. I jump back to the world chat and this time bundle the sweet spring water, purified seawater, and giant coconuts together. Selling 2 practical water items and giant coconuts. 1 coconut covers food for a day and water for 2. Only trading for wood and stone. Message me with your offer. First come, first served. The replies are more serious this time. Surprisingly, the spring water and seawater are less popular than the coconuts, with most buyers offering 20 to 30 wood per coconut. It tracks, because day 1 is about food and water, and healing is a tomorrow problem. While I am about to pick a few high bidders, a private message from a tycoon drops. The handle is Wang Ixin. He wants all 3 items in 1 trade. 200 wood, deal or no deal. I write back. To bring out 200 wood, the man must have already upgraded to a level 2 shelter. He confirms it casually. A mere level 2 is nothing to speak of. There is no item cap or quantity cap per trade. Just 3 trades a day, so larger trades are better for both parties. I just did not expect a single block of 200 wood. I tell him I cannot look down on anyone. Everyone has their own opportunities, and ask if he has stone. He says yes. I propose 100 wood plus 30 stone. Deal. I list the trade. The upgrade materials are settled with surplus, and if I had known Wang Ixin would come along, I would have already traded for the fog-piercing goggles. I ask Wang Ixin where his stockpile came from and propose adding his friends to maintain a long-term arrangement. He says of course they can be produced long-term, and asks if I have many coconuts to trade daily. I tell him I do not, but I produce constitution-enhancing spring water and antibacterial purified seawater daily. Then ask whether he has enough materials to trade every day. He simply pastes me an item description. Nimble steel axe, excellent grade, crafted from high-quality steel, large but light, automatically assists when swung, the sharp blade for felling trees, and the blunt end for pounding. An excellent tool for chopping wood and breaking rocks. Also a decent occasional weapon. Wang Ixin writes that his spawn point is surrounded by trees and giant rocks. He fells a tree in 2 swings and smashes out 7 or 8 stones in 3 to 5 hits, so long-term trade is no issue. I am out of words. While I am still scraping for materials to upgrade my shack, this man has achieved wood freedom. I tell him he is my brother, and ask him to wait while I upgrade and accept his friend request. He says no problem. I bundle the coconut and 50 milliliters each of purified seawater and spring water, and list the sale. A soft ball of light arrives. 100 wood and 30 stone fill the cabin. Shelter, dilapidated wooden house. 8 square meters, crumbling, barely shelters wind and rain. Upgrade requires 100 wood and 50 stone. Current materials, 160 wood and 60 stone. Upgrade now. Yes. As my voice falls, soft white light bleeds out of every crack in the cabin, filling the dark around me like moonlight melting. The drafty holes warm to amber. About 3 seconds later, a brand new wooden house stands in place. Walls of warm light brown plank with seamless joints, the dirt floor turned into stone, tile finished like ceramic. Level 2 shelter. Small wooden house, 14 square meters, a common grade build, suitable as a temporary resting spot. Ordinary materials make it vulnerable in harsh weather, unsuitable for long-term habitation. No facilities yet. Available facilities to build are kitchen at 50 wood and 20 stone, expanding 6 square meters, equipped with a simple stove and iron pot. Restroom at 30 wood and 10 stone, expanding 4 square meters, equipped with a fireplace. A level 2 shelter can build 2 of these, and only after the conditions are met can it upgrade to level 3, which requires 200 wood, 200 stone, and 100 iron. Current materials are 60 wood and 10 stone. Not bad. Real windows now, wooden plank, sliding horizontally instead of glass, but I love them. A square table inside with 2 stools. No bed because the description says no long-term habitation. There is a wooden lounge chair though, and my backside beaten on the azure chest all day finally gets a break. I lay down with the air conditioning quilt around me and prop my feet on the stool. It is suddenly like the rural courtyard of my childhood, lying on a chair under stars after a day's labor. The communicator buzzes. The system congratulates me on upgrading on the first day and says it indicates a glimmer of qualification for long-term survival on the Mist Continent. A practical tool gift pack has been issued. Level 2 brings new functions. The fog-free area expands from 100 meters to 150 meters in radius. The thin mist zone expands from 1,000 meters to 2,000 meters. 2 friend slots are unlocked. Friends can do 1 extra trade per day, and item gifting between friends has no upper limit. The system adds a friendly reminder that it is difficult to survive alone, that unity is strength, but to not underestimate human nature, so choose friends carefully. Reality finds me again. Only those who upgrade their shelters on the first day have a slight chance of survival. I let the line land once. There is good news in here too. The safe zone and thin mist zone both got much bigger, which means more resources, and the practical tool gift pack has arrived. A wooden treasure chest sits on the table out of thin air, and I tear it open. Novice saw, common grade. A single-person saw manufactured on an assembly line, efficient for collecting wood, low durability, prone to breaking. Novice iron pickaxe, common grade, made on an assembly line, mined stone ore, plus a box of matches and a 4-gene heavy quilt. I swapped the air conditioning quilt to use as a mattress on the lounge chair and cover myself with the heavy quilt. Tomorrow I do not have to chop with that broken stone axe anymore. I wonder if there is stone to dig in the newly opened Thin Mist Zone band. I am still short on stone though. The 3 constructible facilities are all useful. The restroom alone solves the hygiene problem because going outside at night is too dangerous. The kitchen has the biggest expansion and comes with an iron pot, which beats the original plan of trying to fire drill with sticks and use a treasure chest as a pot. The chest is too thick to conduct heat well. The matches save me from that whole hassle, like charcoal in a snowstorm. The living room is the must-have because it expands the most and includes the fireplace. And without a heating source, I am not surviving the cold front. The toilet I can do without, and a pot has substitutes, but a fireplace is irreplaceable, and burning fire on a wooden floor inside a sealed cabin would just give me carbon monoxide poisoning by morning. 60 wood and 10 stone. Enough wood for the living room, not enough stone. Tomorrow I look for stone, and if there is none I trade Wang Ixin for it. I find Wang Ixin and Wang Jideong in private messages. 2 friend slots, just right. I send the friend requests. Wang Ixin is busy with something and does not accept yet. Huang Jidong accepts instantly, like he was waiting for it. Congratulations on the level 2 upgrade, he writes. Can we proceed with the trade? The saying goes, do not hit a smiling face, and I want the goggles, so I tell him yes, but he owes me the answer to my question. He says it is just his guess and he will tell me whether it pans out or not. I list 200 milliliters of purified spring water in a coconut shell. He lists the fog-piercing goggles. We confirm. The water disappears from my hand and is replaced with a pair of goggles shaped like toad glasses. I put them on, open the window, and look into the distance. Pitch black, nothing to see. I close the window and fiddle with them, half doubting they really see through fog, because they look like nothing special. The new toy keeps me hoping for sunrise. The communicator buzzes. Huang Jideong writes that I saved his life. I raise an eyebrow and ask how. He says the spring water is actually very useful, then admits that he had a damaged body and the spring water cured it. The words surprised me, because I had drunk the spring water myself, and the effect was real enough. A tingle through the body and a noticeable strength boost. But I did not see a clear healing effect. The minor scrapes I took climbing the coconut tree were still on my hand. If you were injured, I ask, why not buy a healing potion? He says of course he saw the potion in chat. He traded 30 stone and 50 wood for a bottle. No effect. Before I can ask, he keeps going. He was not just injured, he says. He was corroded by the fog. Fog. Corrosion. He explains that, relying on the fog-piercing goggles, he entered the thick fog zone to explore, and the greatest danger turned out to be the fog itself. After about a minute, he felt chest tightness and difficulty breathing, but thought it was nerves. Then the thick fog zone reward I had been told about appeared and delayed him for 2 or 3 minutes, and the breathing problem worsened. He realized the fog was the cause and got out fast. The moment he hit the thin mist zone, he could breathe again, and another minute would have suffocated him. I cut in to ask why he still needed healing if he was already out. He says he was horrified to find a mass of fog remaining inside him, in his chest, slowly spreading through his body, like a hand strangling him from the inside, tightening as time passed. He formed the Survivors Association just to find items that could fix it. All 3 of today's trades went to healing items, with negligible effect. Then he saw my spring water with its body-regulating claws and saw a chance. He was not injured at all, so healing did nothing. What he needed was an item to regulate his body. Even through the screen, I can feel him exhale. He apologizes for hiding the truth before the trade because he was afraid I would refuse if I knew. I tell him it is fine. If I were in his place, I would have done the same. Honestly though, if Huang Jaedong had not brought it up himself afterward, I would not have stayed in contact. Hiding information before the trade is circumstance. Hiding it after is character. He thanks me and adds a warning. My spring water is probably renewable, so tomorrow I will likely enter the thick fog zone for the reward myself. Even with spring water, do not linger. Get the reward and leave. The spring water is not an elixir. He drank all 200 milliliters to flush out the residual fog, and he was inside for less than 5 minutes. I thank him and tell him I understand. He signs off saying I am smart. Looks forward to the next cooperation. I dive into the exchange to use my remaining 2 trade slots before midnight. With the saw and the pickaxe, I want self-defense items for tomorrow's run into the thick fog zone. I have no more coconuts, only about 50 milliliters of spring water and a generous amount of purified seawater, plus 60 wood and 10 stone. After upgrading, I feel like I am back at the starting line. What I do not know is that at this hour, over 95% of survivors are still in their original dilapidated level 1 shacks, and most have nothing better than elite grade items. The exchange is full of garbage, disposable underwear, socks, towels, ballpoint pens. These are the relatively good listings. Someone is listing toothpicks at 1 wood per toothpick. The market formed by 8 billion people is chaos. The good items exist, but most people are dumping anything they have to scrape together upgrade materials. The practical excellent grade items are running 30 to 50 stone, with wood 3 times that. Plain elite items are about 15 to 35 stone. I private message a few sellers asking whether they will trade for excellent grade purified seawater, but most say they only want upgrade materials right now, and will follow up on seawater later when needed. It is 10:30 at night, an hour and a half to the midnight deadline. Almost everyone is making a final push for materials. My real trade targets, then, are the small group who already upgraded. I will have to shout in the world chat. I post a listing. Trading a large amount of excellent grade and a small amount of elite grade water for attack or self-defense items. Interested friends private message me. Info on sweet spring water and purified seawater attached. The chat is mostly trading item X for wood, water for stone. The usual. My message is pushed straight down. A few scattered private messages come in, none of them what I want. One offers me an iron dagger, common grade, a sneak attack tool for assassinations. The description claims it is sharper than other blades. For someone like me with 0 training, the dagger is less lethal than the iron pickaxe. A second offer is a big killer that does not cost a fortune. Just hand over the purified seawater. Concentrated 5-pace viper venom. Excellent grade. The legend being you die within 5 steps after a bite. The concentrated version doing even better. The venom is interesting and I almost buy it. On second thought, it is less useful than the dagger. If I meet some unknown monster, I cannot pry its jaw open and pour poison down. If I could, I would not need poison, I could just slap it dead. The venom is great for someone with combat training, a special forces vet or a martial arts trained survivor who can coat a weapon with it and turn it into a life taker. I am not that person. I keep scrolling through the chat listings which on average are better quality than the exchange. A few items catch my eye. Charcoal crafting scroll, elite grade, 20 stone, 1 available, first come first served. Materials cost 1 wood, produces exquisite charcoal that burns hotter and cleaner and longer than open flame. A brown rope single bed, common grade, 50 wood, wood frame with sturdy brown rope woven for the bedboard, durable and comfortable. Organic fertilizer, excellent grade, 30 stone, all natural pollution-free fertilizer, speeds common plants by 20%, elite by 10, excellent by 1. The variety is good, the prices are cheap, and the prices on most of these will multiply after tonight when the upgrade rush ends. They might not even be obtainable for ordinary wood and stone then. I want to buy them all. I wonder how many good things Wang Ixin pulled in tonight. While I am lamenting, a private message arrives from a handle named Heo Ajun. He greets me as Big Boss and says he has a few things I might need. Can he trade some spring water for them? The name looks familiar. After a beat I remember he is the man who pulled the Flame Burst Great Saber from his azure chest. At the time I was envious. What man would not want a sword that bursts into flame? Could he be selling me the saber? I cannot afford it either. I scroll his attached items and realize I am overthinking it, but the surprises still hit. Bone-corroding sand. Excellent grade, 350 milliliters in a glass bottle. Highly corrosive on contact with air. Glowing Barbie doll. Excellent grade, exquisitely crafted. Wind up the clockwork on its back, and it emits colored light, attracting nearby creatures. Light lasting 10 seconds. Huge repeating crossbow. Excellent grade, fires multiple bolts in succession. Moderate power within a 30-meter range. Comes with 10 bolts. I tell him not to call me Big Boss. He is the real Big Boss. He writes back that all his are excellent grade while my spring water is excellent grade, so I am the Big Boss. I tell him in that case we are both big bosses and add a hands on hips laughing tag. He matches it. Then he gets to business and asks which of the items I want, with 2 more sitting in reserve. I ask where he got so many excellent grade pieces. Did he rob the system shop? He says no. He killed things for them. The line catches me. The Mist Continent has nothing to do with games dropping equipment, so what shocks me is his strength. I have not encountered another creature yet, but I believe effort matches reward, and a creature that drops an excellent grade item is no pushover. Even with the Flame Burst Great Saber, an ordinary person could not pull this off. He did not drop one item. He dropped several, meaning he killed at least 2 of those things or more. I ask him what he did back on Blue Star. He tells me he was an assassin on the dark web, one of the top ranked, and tags the line with a grinning laugh. My jaw lands on the floor. Hard to believe on the surface, but combined with his combat results, I have to believe it. I used to think dark web assassins were novel filler that did not exist in real life. Then again, maybe all assassins are unreliable like Heio Ajun. Or maybe contrast is in fashion. He keeps going. He says I have no idea that when he was an assassin he thought every day about hiding his identity, that he had 20 or 30 ID cards and passports from various countries. Now he can finally yell it out in public and laugh. Okay, this guy has been stifled for too long. I tell him brother killer, his items are all decent. Let me think about it. He says no problem, waiting on my reply. Heio Ajun's items are all decent. The bone-corroding sand has a low usage threshold and no skill ceiling. Hit and break it and the damage lands, which suits someone like me with 0 martial training. The huge repeating crossbow follows the same logic. No close quarters risk, just output from range. Although a crossbow will have some operational learning curve. The bone-corroding sand is the more forgiving piece because dust from a near miss still does damage. The glowing Barbie doll, just looking at the name, sounds unreliable. Maybe the system has been hacked and the hacker is a little girl who likes Barbie dolls. Otherwise, how do you explain a Barbie doll with this kind of practical use? It does not deal damage, but it is a noble crowd control tool, effectively an extra life. The downsides are a 10-second window, and that is probably one time. I want all 3. My hoarder instinct flares, but we are separated by an unknown distance and I cannot rob him. And even if I tried, I would lose the fight. I remember the venom and pull up the private chat list, find a handle named Passerby A, and ask whether the concentrated 5-pace Viper venom is still available. I want it. The crossbow has opened a new world for me. Sooner or later I will have to fight, and starting at range is the safer entry. Crossbow bolts will not punch through a medium or large creature on their own, and the venom covers that weakness perfectly. The reply is quick. Still available, trading for purified seawater, he wants 200 milliliters. I counter with 150. He agrees and tells me to list and buy it in 1 minute on the exchange. I stop and rub my chin. Did I just lose out? No, I have to haggle harder. I tell him to wait a moment before listing. He asks what is wrong, says a gentleman's word is his bond. I tell him I am not going back on it, but I only have 1 container, and after the trade I will have nothing left. So he has to give me a container or I lose out. I credit myself inwardly because if he has no container I can drop the price. He shrugs me off, says he will throw in 2 containers, lists everything together. I buy the venom with tears in my eyes. White light, a bottle the size of an eyedropper appears. Concentrated 5-pace Viper venom, elite grade, legendary toxin that supposedly kills in 5 steps after a bite. The concentrated version doing even better. Plus 2 wooden strips hollowed out roughly with a pickaxe, which work fine as temporary trading containers. Venom in hand, I open Heio Ajun's chat. Brother killer, I tell him. I made up my mind. Which one, he asks. I tell him honestly they are all good, and I want all 3. He laughs and bundles all 3 for 200 milliliters of spring water. I give a bitter smile. I want them all, but I do not have that much spring water. He accuses me of treating him like a big shot and trying to freeload off him. My face flushes. Freeloading is impossible, I tell him. Here is a counter. Today 50 milliliters of spring water plus 100 milliliters of purified seawater for the Barbie doll. Keep the other 2 for me. Tomorrow another 100 of each for the remaining 2. He hesitates and says let him think. I press while the iron is hot. I tell him even if he is brave and invincible, there will always be a time he gets hurt. Spring water is good, but 50 milliliters a day is enough for long-term constitution. Purified seawater is different because the anti-inflammatory and antibacterial effects are immediate. Keeping some for emergencies is completely viable. Besides, I tell him, if we build a good relationship and trade long-term, why would he ever run short on spring water? He concedes. although he is brave and invincible. All right, my way, so you only heard the flattery. I resist the urge to roast him and quickly trade for the Barbie doll. He tries to send a friend request, but my slots are full. I will have to wait for level 3 to see if there are new slots. Wang Ixin's friend request lands at the same time. I gift the remaining seawater plus the water container to Wang Ixin for 40 stone. Although the big financier is light on stone right now, and pays 30 with 10 more promised tomorrow. My current materials sit at 60 wood and 40 stone. Even the big financier has no spare grain, otherwise I would have expanded the living room tonight. That eats today's 3 world trades, and 2 friend trades. I exit the chat and rest the communicator on the table as a lamp. I curl up on the lounge chair under the quilt. One day on the Mist Continent and it has felt exceptionally long. The young man in the dim cabin lets out a small laugh. When you are lonely, you turn sentimental. Back on Blue Star, I worried about everything, my future, my mess of a life. Here on the Mist Continent, dangerous as it is, everyone only has themselves to live for. The thought clears my head. I have transmigrated. Can I be the protagonist for once? First thing in the morning, I am going for the thick fog zone reward. 90% of what Huang Jiediong said is probably true. He had no reason to lie after the trade. Cursing me in the world chat would not stick because there are countless people with similar names and the chat scrolls too fast for reputation to land. The Tiangang Big Dipper formation is overwhelmingly powerful, clearly beyond a bronze drop. He almost certainly pulled it from inside the thick fog zone, and many of the other excellent items appearing in chat that have effects so frighteningly strong are likely from the same place. Huang Jiediong is not the only one who went in. I have to gamble and keep pace with a small group at the very front of humanity. A level 2 shelter compared to a level 1 is heaven. The plank walls seal tight, no longer a sieve, and even with the temperature dropping, the cabin stays noticeably warmer. I tighten the quilt around myself and prepare to rest. There are over 10 hours until daylight, and no Douyin, no Genshin Impact, no Honor of Kings on the Mist Continent. The chat keeps rolling. People crying, complaining, trying to scrape the last materials for a level 2 before midnight. Daytime on the continent is dead silent, but the night carries the distant roars of native creatures. Everyone hides in their shelter and waits for dawn. Exactly 12 midnight, the communicator buzzes right on time. The shelter upgrade mission ends. Rewards distributed. A total of 77,601,052 people completed it, approximately 0.97% of the total population. Congratulations on completing the mission. Please keep up the good work. The world chat trade traffic dies and turns into wailing. A guy was only 10 wood short and asks how it is already time. Another had the trade finalized and was 1 minute short. A third was about to upgrade when the timer hit, 5 seconds away. A fourth chewed leaves all day to save resources, and still came up short asking where the rest got their materials. Someone explains that Sweet Potato Brothers sold water and sweet potatoes, that the lucky ones with chest pulls had stockpiles, that they were not actually at the same starting line. Someone curses bad luck. Someone asks what was in the practical tool gift pack, and another guy lists the saw, pickaxe, matches, and quilt. A voice says, doesn't that mean tonight's upgraders will gather even faster tomorrow? A bitter response confirms it. Someone vents about an hour of failed fire drilling for nothing. Someone is making a sex joke and getting roasted. The night thins out. Fewer people speak, most force themselves to relax and rest. The sky gradually brightens. The weather page tells me today is sunny, 2 to 9 degrees Celsius. Sunrise at 10 in the morning. Daylight 6 hours and 25 minutes. Climate trend extreme cold air approaching. Collect sufficient survival supplies and warm items. My whole body aches. I rub my shoulders and ask out loud what time it is, mumbling that I should not have overslept and need to hurry to work. Half an hour later, I shoot up off the lounge chair. I have transmigrated and I am still thinking about work. The cursed corporate grind life has truly conditioned me. The lounge chair is also too short and stiff, and a full night on it has left every joint locked. I get up, dress, stretch, do leg presses. Getting a real bed is important or my body is going to break. Just over 10 minutes to dawn. I run through prep for the thick fog zone. The Homestead Spring Eye has about 200 milliliters in the groove after 10 hours of accumulation, and because the purification bead was inside the whole time, the water is all excellent grade. Fog-piercing goggles and the glowing Barbie doll go with me, and the iron pickaxe goes too, so I am not unarmed. I put the trench coat on. It is still damp from yesterday, but I have no other clothes. I will have to wait for Wang Ixin's stone to come in, build the living room, get the fireplace running, and dry it then. The sky goes from ink to bright in 5 or 6 minutes flat. Just before I leave, an idea hits me. I tear a strip of cloth from my hoodie, soak it through in the spring eye, and tuck the wet strip into my pocket. At 10 on the dot, I open the wooden door. Cold wind hits me. Yesterday's high was over 10 degrees Celsius. Today it has dropped straight to 2 to 9, with a shorter day. A small unease lingers. The daily change on this continent is brutal. I tighten my coat and head left, since the palm prints were on the right yesterday. The thin mist zone has expanded 1,000 meters after the upgrade, and I plan to scout for other resources along the way. The fog-piercing goggles I expected to clear the thin mist zone do nothing, so the goggles only work in the thick fog zone. About 100 meters past yesterday's boundary, I find a patch of bamboo. Containers in any size if I saw the sections. I make a note to come back and head onward. The day is not as silent as yesterday. Insect chirps and bird calls cut through. Just shy of the thick fog zone, I hear rustling and turn. 2 or 3 rabbits are grazing. They feel me, lift their heads, and lock onto me. I crouch instantly and slide the pickaxe off my waist. Calling them rabbits is generous. Each one is the size of a mid-sized dog, and their 2 front teeth are sharp, carnivore style. The communicator labels them snow rabbits, common-grade weak herbivores with strong reproduction, active at night and dawn. We stare each other down for over a minute before they decide I am no threat and bound into the thick fog zone. I exhale and wipe cold sweat off my forehead. If those rabbits had fought me, I'm not sure I would have won. I underestimate my own strength here. If I were still the corporate grind office worker, I would have lost the fight. The sweet spring water has been quietly upgrading my body, and after one day my fitness is approaching that of a soldier. The thick fog zone is right ahead. According to Huang Jidiang, 100 meters in and the reward triggers on its own. No searching needed. I plan to make this quick. I step in. The goggles heat up the moment I cross the boundary, and everything in front of me snaps into focus. Wildflowers, grass, trees growing rampantly, colorful vines threaded between them. The goggles only show 50 meters, so I mark trees as I move. A nearby tree pings as yellow rosewood, elite-grade wood with a faint natural fragrance, slight calming effect, hard texture, suitable for construction. The resources in here are rich. Not far away I see the stone mine I have been wanting, also elite grade. After about 10 seconds I feel chest tightness and shortness of breath. I do not panic. I pull the cloth strip from my pocket, soaked in spring water, and put it in my mouth. The discomfort vanishes the instant my tongue touches it. It works. My confidence jumps and I speed up. 100 meters in, a crimson flash. A dark red stone pillar materializes. Round base, diamond-shaped main pillar floating half a meter above the base. 7 or 8 names are vaguely visible on the surface. Number 1, Kristen. Number 2, Oriana. Number 3, Xiao Jigang. Number 4, Huang Jidong. There really is a reward. The system text reads Fogbreaker Totem. Unknown. It appears only at the 100-meter mark inside the thick fog zone, only during the first 7 days after a survivor logs into the mist continent. The totem records the first 100 survivors who dared to enter. It evaluates a survivor's current overall comprehensive ranking among all peers, including shelter construction, owned items, food, and resources. Reward tiers go S for the top 1%, A for the top 5, B for the top 10, C for the top 20, D for the top 50. Start evaluation, 60-minute countdown. The totem disappears when it ends. I hammer my own thigh. I did not expect an evaluation. I thought it would be a free chest. Too sudden. I turn and run. The coconut trees by the sea hold 3 giant coconuts I had not collected yet. If I can drag them back to the shelter and add them to my owned resources, the evaluation should leapfrog tens of millions. I open the communicator while running. Beep beep beep, big financier online, it is an emergency. Wang Xin replies. I ask if he has started knocking stones yet. I need 10 urgently. He laughs. The big financier asks if I am collecting debts first thing in the morning. I apologize, promise to treat him to coconut juice. He says he was cutting trees, but since I am in a hurry, he will go knock stones. Half an hour, okay? Yes, thank you. I sprint to the coconut tree, climb, chisel down the coconuts with the pickaxe. 15 minutes. No time to think. I grab 2 coconuts and run for the shelter, not even noticing my strength is improved. Another 15 minutes. 1 coconut left. It is going to be too late. Then I get an idea. Run back, scoop the last coconut, sprint to the Fogbreaker Totem. Holding it in my hand should count as owned resources. I am such a clever little guy. During this, Wang Xin's 10 stones arrive. I now have 60 wood and 50 stones, exactly enough to build the living room. I confirm the build without hesitation. 5 minutes left on the countdown. I stand in front of the totem with the coconut in my arms. Start evaluation. As my voice falls, the totem rises a little further and emits a soft red light. 3 seconds. Evaluation complete. Current survivor reward tier S. I laugh, mostly relieved. The result was within expectations. The current max shelter level is only level 2. At most, someone built 1 more facility than me. I have 2 excellent grade items, 1 elite grade, and a bunch of common grade. Food and water all went to trades, but I do own 3 giant coconuts, so squeezing into the top 1% is barely enough. The weakness was building materials, and the living room build drained my last wood, so for those 3 seconds I was tense. Red light flies out of the totem and condenses into a prize draw box. Light orbs the size of ping pong balls condense and drop into the circular hole on top. Most are blue, a small number are black, and a single purple one floats among them. S-grade reward 2 blind box draws, 90% are excellent grade items, 9% special items, 1% excellent rank items. The system runs an evaluation for S+. If I rank in the top 100 within the current tier, the evaluation succeeds, and the chance of excellent rank and special items doubles. Evaluation failed. Please begin the draw. I was excited for the first half, then reality. There is always someone better. I have been coasting on luck in the early game, and there are truly capable people out there. Still, luck is part of strength. Humility is good, but I cannot belittle myself. I should hurry. The surroundings are starting to feel a little wrong. By now I have been in the thick fog zone for almost 5 minutes, and the cloth strip in my mouth has run out. Every uncomfortable sensation surges back like a tide. I reach into the prize draw box, and just as I grab 2 orbs, the entire box and remaining orbs dissipate. I stuff the 2 orbs into my pocket and walk fast for the thin mist zone. I can no longer catch a breath. The ordinary fog has changed. It moves with a sticky texture and writhes slowly. Breathed in, it tastes metallic, fishy sweet, and it makes my throat tighten. The worst thing is a bone-deep chill that does not come from temperature but seeps out of my own blood vessels. I move my feet faster. Hold on 20 seconds. 20 seconds and I am out. Then I stop. The surroundings are terrifyingly quiet. The insects and birds I heard before are gone. Something is following me. The footsteps are off by 1 beat. I took 3 steps and 4 sounds came in. I take 3 steps forward, then stop hard. The mismatched 4th footstep keeps going, then cuts off. An eerie atmosphere drops on me. Even with my body temperature already crashing from the fog, cold sweat slides down my forehead. The symptoms are worsening and I can barely breathe. I cannot let this thing follow me out of the thick fog zone, or the consequences will be endless. I take out the glowing Barbie doll. Wind it fast. I can only rely on you. The spring loosens with a soft click. Colored light blooms. I hurl the doll into the deeper thick fog zone with everything I have. 2 seconds later, the footsteps shift toward the doll. Run. The Barbie doll's glow only lasts 10 seconds, but that is enough. I do not slow at the thin mist zone. I sprint all the way to the shelter. On the way, I send the giant coconut I am carrying to Wang Ixin via gift. I had only promised him a glass of coconut juice. This is a huge loss. I have not run this fast since the neighbor's big yellow dog chased me when I was 7. I collapse on the stone floor of the cabin. No thought for dignity. Pull off the goggles, struggle up, and drain 200 milliliters of purification spring water. I am back from the dead. The thick fog zone is too dangerous. Huang Jideong must have had items beyond the goggles. The goggles' vision is the baseline. Anyone going in needs something that can save a life. My body has been enhanced by the spring water and I had a strip of it in my mouth, and even then 5 minutes is my hard limit. Most people would die in 3. I pull out a light orb. Normal blue, a common reward. Happy sweet potato, excellent grade, high yield, highly adaptable root crop with rich nutrition, delicate flesh, high sweetness. I gape at the thing in front of me, which is the size of a computer monitor. In this place, coconuts are huge, rabbits are huge, and now sweet potato is 3 days of food. I am not eating this one. I will taste it at most, otherwise it would be a waste. Although I do not know how to farm, I know enough that cutting a fist-sized piece off works as a seed. A sweet potato this big can be cut up into seeds and planted in a ring around the shelter. Steady happiness. The value of the happy sweet potato is higher than the spring eye and the bead combined. This is an excellent grade staple food that can be obtained continuously in large quantities. As long as I survive to the first harvest, I have an endless supply. The bead combo only gets me a little water per day. What other functions the sweet potato has are unknown, but the system named rich nutrition. Someone in chat yesterday was selling fertilizer, but the grade was too low to help an excellent. I need to find a growth accelerator at some point. After roughly planting the sweet potato, I check the second reward. I reach into my pocket and pull the second orb and call out that I am willing to sacrifice my only 2 friends, Huang Jideong and Wang Ixin, and shrink my ding-ding by 5 centimeters in exchange for 1 excellent rank item. Come out, Pikachu. The instant I grab the orb, I see the color, and at the same moment I hear faintly in my head, ding, transaction successful. I cackle. The drop is a splash of colorful black. Special type item. 9%. Not the rarest, but not the guaranteed blue. I crush the orb. The next moment I am dumbfounded. I tell the system that come out Pikachu was a slogan, not a request to actually give me a Pikachu. A yellow creature like an orange cat lies on the floor, asleep, the fluff on its back rising and falling. The thing is alive. The system reads its saber-toothed tiger cub, potential excellent, current common grade, a leader among felines, outstanding strength, endurance, speed, basically perfect aside from not flying. In cub form, can reach excellent grade in adulthood. Feeding high-quality meat accelerates growth. Note, while an adult saber-toothed tiger is mighty, the cub stage is also very cute. I am speechless, extremely speechless. I was hoping this special item would surprise me, but it turned out to be a burden. What am I supposed to do with this? Roast it. Before the happy sweet potato, I did not even have food for myself. I was hoping for a real power item so I could land in food freedom and water freedom, and retire. This thing eats meat, high-quality meat at that. I have not had a bite of meat. I nudge the cub awake and tell it to stop sleeping and turn into a mighty tiger king for me. It opens its eyes, gets up groggily, shakes its head, first slightly ruffled, stretches its paws forward, and yawns. With this kind of alertness, how is it supposed to be king of beasts? I point and severely reprimand. The cub finally notices me, runs over, circles me, occasionally rubbing my pant leg. I nudge it away with my foot and tell it to get lost. I have nothing to feed it. The cub stops circling, lies down in front of me, and rolls onto its back, belly exposed. I tell it acting cute is useless. I cannot afford to raise it, go on its own. 3 minutes later I am holding the cub and laughing, telling it to stop licking my chin because its tongue has barbs. King of the beasts, and it can also act cute. Who could resist that? I tell it from now on it follows me well and I will not treat it badly. It growls happily. Tonight I tell it, I will find Brother Killer and trade for some meat. Another happy growl. I tell it I need to give it a name. It looks like an orange cat. How about Juicy? Orange. The growl stops. Not satisfied with such a good name, the king of beasts needs something majestic. 5 minutes of deep thought later, I tell it if Juicy is not majestic then Big Orange, because adding big in front of a name in my old world made it majestic. Like Great King, Great General, Great Governor. Still not satisfied. I slap its head until it protests are useless. You are called Big Orange. Big Orange agrees under duress, the growl reluctant. I ignore the protest. Alright, you stay in the house. I need to hurry out and find supplies. I set Big Orange on the floor and only then observe the shelter. The 14 square meters has expanded to 22. The main door is centered, sliding window on the left wall, fireplace of about 2 square meters on the right where it was empty, chimney going up and turning sharply at the ceiling to vent through the wall. Big Orange is climbing the chimney, falling, climbing, tireless. The furniture is the same square table, 2 stools, recliner, 2 empty chests, 2 large coconuts, the spring eye in the corner, no wood, no stone, slightly empty. 5 hours of daylight left. I have to use them. The front of the shelter is C. Even with the expanded view, the value is limited. The right has the giant palm print creature. Too close, no self-defense item left after the Barbie doll, so I postpone exploring there. That leaves back and left. After the expansion, the back is still unknown. The left initially explored, showed no danger and even has a small bamboo forest. Today I finished the rest of the left. If I have time I cut some trees. I head out fast, only carrying the pickaxe and saw. I move past the bamboo forest and start fanning out from there in a semicircle. The bamboo forest is about 1,100 meters from the shelter, which is a long haul. I will only scout a 500-meter radius around it. Unlike the barren foggy area, flowers and trees grow freely along the way, and even ordinary weeds are knee-high. Insects and birds carry. What a pity this is not next to the shelter. This bamboo forest alone provides wood in containers, and maybe bamboo shoots. The trees are thick, each conservatively yielding 50 wood when cut, but too far to haul back even after sawing. I lack a cart. The lucky one with the space bracelet is saving half the labor. Over 1,000 meters and the plants on both sides are drastically different. The mist continent ignores common sense. Then I stop. Even if the climate is changeable, plant growth needs specific conditions: fertilizer, sunlight, water. I take the pickaxe and dig a small pit in the ground, then move 10 meters and dig another. 30 minutes in, more than 10 pits surround me. The plants here grow wildly because the soil is excellent grade. Humus soil, excellent grade, formed by long fermentation of fallen leaves and decay into organic-rich substrate, slightly increases plant growth speed. A 300-meter radius of excellent grade humus soil. Although it does not take effect immediately, the long-term benefit rivals an excellent grade item. If I get vegetable or fruit seeds, it boosts survival rate and harvest speed. Excellent grade soil compensates for my lack of gardening skill. Plus, I just got the happy sweet potato and was wondering where to plant it. A pillow when sleepy. Although the sweet potato is excellent grade, and the soil is only excellent grade, sweet potatoes need almost nothing. An excellent grade soil should meet their needs. 4.5 hours to dark. I rushed back to the shelter for chests to haul the soil, and saw 2 bamboo trees on the way. The mist means I have to keep checking my markers. A round trip is half an hour. The chests are around the size of a nightstand. I carry 2 per trip. My strength is clearly increased from the morning sprints. At minimum, I have the stamina of a healthy adult male. The spring water has clearly freed me from the sub-healthy office worker state of long years of sitting. Even so, after 3 trips I am wheezing in front of the shelter, the humus soil piled outside next to the window. This much soil should theoretically be enough for common grade sweet potatoes. But the continent does not play by the rules. Keep moving. 3 more trips and I collapse on the ground. Big Orange hears the sound, runs out, pads over, lies down on my chest. 1 hour to dark. Daylight has slipped past me. I have only eaten coconut meat today. 2 consecutive days without staple food or meat, and I dearly miss beef noodles, egg fried rice, stews, mandu, everything I used to eat on a normal weekday. After 20 minutes of rest, I struggle to pick Big Orange up. Be good. Stay in the shelter and play. It is almost dark. Do not run around. Wait for me to come back. A growl. I watch Big Orange run inside and use the last 30 or 40 minutes to collect seawater. Yesterday's half box is gone. Today's haul was abundant, but none of it is suitable for trade. I need seawater to purify for currency tonight. I take 2 empty boxes and walk to the sea on tired legs. Night falls fast. The not-so-warm sunlight fades within a dozen minutes. The thin mist thickens over the treetops like it could be squeezed out by hand. Survivors everywhere stop and return to their shelters. Roars in the distance. The native creature's time has come. I carry 2 boxes of seawater and walk, rest, and barely return to the cabin at the last moment. Big Orange runs over and rubs my pant leg. I tell it I know it is hungry. I will find Brother Killer to trade for meat later. I set the seawater in the corner, pull the bead from the spring eye, drop it into 1 box. 1 box is 3 liters and the bead purifies in half an hour. In time for tonight's trade. Something is missing. I rub my chin, then snap my head over. Where is my spring water? Where is the spring water I hoarded all day? The 200 milliliters from last night I used in the morning, but I have not touched a single drop produced since. The spring eye produces 300 milliliters a day, and there should have been 70 or 80 milliliters from the daytime hours. I planned to let it accumulate so by midnight there would be 100 milliliters, exactly the trade I promised Brother Killer. 0.00257 seconds later, I know who the culprit is. Big Orange. Did you get greedy and steal a drink? Confess. Big Orange tilts its head and makes an innocent noise. I scold it for treating me like a stepfather and tell it to get over here. It lowers its head and walks over reluctantly. I tell it not to play aggrieved with me. I pick it up and frantically pet its fur backwards. Only after Big Orange struggles to lick its mess of a coat back into shape am I satisfied. I note that this cat does not shed even after this. It protests. I rub its fur up again. I put my hands on my hips and laugh. After playing with Big Orange, I use a homemade wooden spoon to scoop coconut meat for dinner. How long am I supposed to live this miserable existence? The white coconut tasted sweet yesterday, but 2 days of nothing else and even my burps taste like coconut. I have not planted the happy sweet potato yet. Now that I have the fireplace, I want to dig up a piece and roast it, but I am afraid the rest will spoil after being cut and I would lose my long-term supply. I cannot gamble. I take out the communicator to scroll the world chat. There is a wall of private messages from Wang Ixin, the big financier. Big brother, he wrote, I was wrong. I am ashamed of my attitude. The stones were something I owed you. What is wrong with you chasing the debt? I was impatient with Big Brother. I really deserve to die. Anyway, this coconut is a testament to our friendship. In the future, tell me anything you need and I will give it to you below market. Big brother, why are you ignoring me? Big brother, you have not kicked the bucket, have you? Ah, I did not expect that, just as I felt a glimmer of warmth in the mist continent. Why does God treat me like this? I get a headache. This must have been from the morning when I was running and gifted him the coconut while still escaping. I had promised him coconut juice and decided to dump the whole coconut on him to lighten my load. I never expected it to move him. I tell him, what is he howling about? I am alive and well. Do not curse me. He replies instantly. Damn, big brother. You are still alive. I thought you ran into danger and gave me your inheritance, the big coconut, before kicking the bucket. I tell him I do not die that easily. He asks if I noticed the world population count, which has fallen below 7.8 billion. I switch to the world chat. Each channel shows the current survivor count, and those who passed away do not get a tally. Many had died yesterday too, but with a number that large it did not feel real. Today it is different. The first 2 digits went from 80 to 77. In 2 days, more than 300 million compatriots have lost their lives. The number presses on my chest like a boulder. I write to Wang Ixin that the 300 million must be the elderly and children. He says not necessarily, as far as he knows. Children under 14 came in with their fathers or mothers. The elderly's bodies returned to their prime, and disabilities were healed. Who told you that? I ask. World chat. He writes, he hangs out and chats when bored. Lots of people say it. Probably not groundless. Good news for humanity then. Although I say that, news has 2 sides. If the elderly and children have basic guarantees, then the 300 million plus who died were all survivors capable of taking care of themselves. They did not starve in their shelters. They lost their lives encountering unknown dangers. The Mist Continent is more terrifying than I had imagined. I tell Wang Ixin we cannot intervene in others. Let us work on our own survival, then ask what he gained today and what we can trade. He pings happily. After upgrading to level 2 and expanding his view, he found a patch of elite grade stones. Granite, elite grade, originally normal granite contaminated by too much mist and changed stronger than common granite. I tell him good stuff, that would let his shelter upgrade jump a level of defense. How many did he get? He grumbles. The stone mountain is too far. He moved 1 chest load and gave up. Just over 10 pieces. So you spent the rest of the day chatting. He fires back. He worked hard chopping wood all day. A full 800 plus wood. I am envious. Excellent grade farm tools are different. A normal person, excluding food and water search, can chop at most 100 wood a day, while Wang Ixin is at 8 times that. The reason it is not higher is the nearby trees are gone and the haul time from further away eats his quota. Otherwise, his excellent grade tools would do over 1,000. I propose trading 500 milliliters of elite grade water for 200 wood. He says if I had said that earlier, he would have chopped more. I ask if he used up all 800. Yeah, 50 wood left. He already promised someone yesterday to trade 800 wood plus one of his elite items for a tool. Do not worry. With that tool, he can trade elite grade granite tomorrow. What kind of tool turns him into Superman? He says better than Superman. Spatial backpack, elite grade, a backpack with spatial technology, but due to immature technology, the internal space is only 6 cubic meters. Holy crap. This is the spatial item I have been wanting. Not as exaggerated as the 20 cubic meter bracelet, but enough. The big financier is the only one with this much wood to trade at this stage. In the end, I trade 500 milliliters of purified seawater with Wang Ixin for 50 wood plus 10 granite, draining my last inventory. Actually, that much elite water source could have traded for at least double, but I do not care. I treat it as cementing the relationship. I have an idea brewing that needs Wang Ixin. The communicator buzzes. Missed continent announcement. Congratulations on surviving the second day, but the real crisis has not begun. Extreme cold air is approaching, and animals across the continent are preparing food to withstand the bitter winter. Starting tomorrow, animals around survivors will actively attack, and creature spawn rates inside the thick fog zone will greatly increase. Reminder: prepare self-defense items in advance when going out. Try to kill monsters if possible. Monsters drop treasure chests. Monster treasure chests will only contain attack, defense, tool, and clothing items. Starting tomorrow, the danger of obtaining resources rises sharply. I think of the unknown creature that left the giant palm print to the right of my shelter. I still have not figured out what that thing is. A savage, a skeleton soldier, a ghost, or a monster. I do not even know if the Mist Continent has those metaphysical things. So far, the plants and creatures I have met look like blue stars, just bigger or with better effects. Even big orange. Saber-toothed tigers had traces in Blue Star's early days. The system's tone has shifted. This announcement is a direct warning, not flavor text. Survival is going to keep getting harder, hard enough that the system needs to intervene to nudge human behavior. The plan from here is hoarding. Food primarily my weakness. Even native creatures need to expand range and hoard. The bitter winter ahead is going to be brutal. I am 90% sure that when it lands, I will not be able to do the most basic outing, just sit in the shelter and chew stockpile. Besides food, warm items, I only have a duvet and a 4-gene heavy quilt. With just these, I cannot even survive Blue Star winter, let alone this one. After the announcement, the world chat turns toward beasts. Are there wild beasts around your shelter? Why have I seen none here? Voices ask. Someone scoffs that you would not be happy if you actually saw one. Another guy says he tried to warn the channel on day one that something was scratching at his door. Now everyone looks silly. A fortunate one says he got a bow and arrow from a chest and originally thought it would be useless. Someone shouts at wild beasts to come out. He is starving and would fight a bear to the death. Another reports he is starving too, with nothing to eat. Someone else warns that if you actually encounter one, you are 99% done. The animals are unbelievably large. He killed a hyena today, and it was the size of an ox. The chat begs him for dog meat. He refuses, saying food is so precious now that you would not get it for rocks, let alone wood. A bitter pattern threads through. The temperature drops sharply every night. If I do not eat high-calorie food, I will freeze before bitter winter even arrives. Another agrees. The temperature drop is insane. It will get colder and colder. Hands are already frozen stiff. The chat is heavy tonight. My mood is heavy with it. There is no exact date for bitter winter, but it cannot be long. 10 days, 7, maybe 5. Gathering enough food and cold supplies in that window is brutal. Wild resources are out of the question and crops will not mature in time. The only way is to hunt wild beasts. I really have to risk my life. Compared to others, I have one advantage. The water purification bead. Fresh water is solved for me. Even survivors near rivers have to wonder whether long-term consumption of river water has problems. I scroll up and find a handle named Siojigang. Hello, I write. I saw in the chat that you killed a hyena. Would you trade excellent grade water for meat? I attached the purified seawater info. No reply. Too many people are messaging him. Be patient. Purified seawater is genuinely practical for combat-oriented survivors. He will probably agree. While I wait, I open the shelter info. I have not decided on the second build. With Big Orange, the restroom is urgent. Compared to the hygiene problem of one man and one tiger, the iron pot is less important. The only pity is the kitchen gives 6 square meters versus the restroom's 4. After the living room, the shelter is already 22 square meters and I do not have much to store, so the extra space is sufficient. Build the restroom. Materials 30 wood and 10 stone. Current 60 wood and 10 stone of elite grade. As I confirm, a light appears in front of me about 6 or 7 square meters wide. I look at the communicator. It says, please select the restroom location. Default in 30 seconds. Countdown 10, 9. Holy crap. Wait, how do I select? I frantically try to move the light. A toilet in the middle of the cabin would be hilarious. Fortunately, the light reads my thoughts and snaps to the lower left corner. The countdown ends and the shelter has grown. In the lower left corner is a 2x3 square meter room, even with a thoughtful door. Walking in, square table and 2 stools first. On the table, the spring eye and 2 chests of seawater. To the right against the wall, the fireplace with the recliner in front. Left wall has the window. Next to it, the new restroom, with the excellent grade soil piled outside the window. The 10 granite are not making a visible difference yet, probably because the count is too small. I rub my cold hands. Pleased with the cabin's current shape, a place to use the toilet, no more holding it overnight, and a fireplace, I grab a piece of wood, split it down with the stone axe, pull out the matches from the gift pack, and light a fire to warm myself. My trench coat is soaked beyond recognition. I peel it off with the hoodie and lay them on the stool near the fireplace to dry. I lie back on the recliner and let the warmth hit me. Big Orange had been by the fireplace but seems to dislike the heat and ducks behind me to hide. I tell it you are so small and not afraid of cold, just as expected of a pure yang body. The flame rises and the cabin lights up. The dark night gets pushed back. I watch the dancing flame and something inside me settles. For a moment I forget the mist outside and the unknown dangers, and focus only on the warm fire. The communicator buzzes. Seo Jigong replies, "We can trade, but this is excellent grade hyena meat, so it has to be 1 to 3. 1 jin of meat for 3 liters of water. Excellent grade meat." The man is formidable. I remember now that Seo Jigong's name was on the Fogbreaker totem in 3rd place, ranked above Huang Jidang. No wonder he can take down an excellent grade hyena. He must have powerful items. I write back, "My water is also excellent grade. 1 to 3 is exaggerated. Given the size of creatures on the continent, a hyena is at least 2 to 300 jin of meat. And my purified seawater has excellent effects, very suitable for the current survivor situation." He replies fast, "You have not hunted yet, have you? Meat is not that easy to get. A hyena is 300 jin in size, but the system decomposes it automatically and you only get about 3 jin of meat. The system takes a cut." I write back, "What? Not exactly," he says. After killing a beast, the chests drop and a substance called mist beads condenses. Mist bead of earth. Description: essence condensed from the flesh and blood of native creatures of the mist continent, possessing mysterious power. I ask what the thing is for. He says he is not very clear either. Probably useful later. Maybe worried I will not trust him, Seo Jigong adds another piece of information. Although your seawater is effective, all excellent grade and above food on the mist continent will improve a person's physical fitness. A flash of insight crosses my mind. That is why the happy sweet potato has no stated purpose. That is why the system specifically issued the announcement nudging survivors to kill beasts. This is fighting to sustain war. I have only 6 liters of seawater today. No way to store more without bigger containers. Bamboo can be cups, but it cannot hoard water. I would like to trade for more meat at once if possible, because the long-term demand for purified seawater is relatively small. If I dump 3 liters with Seo Jigong now, I cannot trade with him for food again, until he uses it up. And even then only at common-grade water prices. A moment of thought, I write back. 1 to 3 is still too much. The value of purified seawater is much more useful than food at specific times, and also doubles as daily drinking water. He asks me to name a number. After a fierce negotiation, I trade 5 liters of purified seawater for 2 jin of meat. Adding the seawater I traded with the big financier earlier, I am down to 500 milliliters of water. The moment the trade closes, 2 pieces of hyena meat appear on the table. Big Orange, who had been dozing, perks up like a cat smelling fish, locked on. I tell it even though it secretly drank the spring water, I still got meat. Pretty amazing, huh? A happy noise. I generously feed Big Orange a whole piece and take the other to the fireplace. The top of the fireplace is a smooth stone slab. A wonderful sizzle. The hyena meat is firm. Even fully cooked, I cannot separate the muscle fibers with my homemade chopsticks. I just use my hands, blowing on the heat, chewing heartily. Honestly, it tastes a lot like steak. Without salt or seasoning, the unique animal fat meat aroma is enough to feel satisfied. 3 or 4 bites and my body goes strange. So hot. Why is it so hot? My temperature rises fast. If I had a thermometer, it would read 42 degrees Celsius. My skin reddens. The cold air around me clashes with my body heat and I emit white steam, like a man on fire. My first thought is poison. Then I figure out it is the feedback from eating excellent grade food, my fitness being enhanced. Before, when I drank excellent grade spring water, a warm current surged through me with a tingling at the bones. If spring water is a gentle older sister massaging your body, hyena meat is a burly man pounding it with rough hands. The energy makes me unable to sit still. I pace, then jog around the shelter. The cabin is too small. After 2 laps, I drop into push-ups and frog jumps. Half an hour later, the mysterious power slowly recedes. The effect of excellent grade food is truly amazing. The improvement feels similar to the spring water, and yet this was only excellent grade while the spring water was excellent grade. The spring water is also gentler and stacks with food. I estimate at my current fitness I can eat at most half a caddy of excellent grade food per day. Beyond that, my body can be damaged by the energy. But the spring water has no such limit. This means I can stack the spring water boost after my daily food limit. Unfortunately, repeated drinking in a short time has no effect, because the gentle enhancement needs time to soak. Even so, my fitness improvement will be much faster than others under the same conditions. A worried bark. Big Orange had been circling me while I was overheating. I rub its head and tell it I am fine. Your master's getting stronger. I will get you more meat later. Big Orange ate a full caddy of hyena meat with no visible effect on the surface. No special situation. This little guy eats more than I do. I ask if it has grown a bit. When I noticed the stolen spring water earlier, Big Orange's size seemed slightly larger, but I dismissed it. Now after a full piece of meat, it is clearly a size larger than its initial state. Looks like I will have to share the spring water with you from now on. A growl. The excellent grade food digests and the cold rushes back. I add firewood. The recliner is hard under me, and I remember the aches from the morning. I still need a bed. A recliner is fine for short rests, but bad for long sleep. I open the exchange and search for sleeping items. There are over 999 pages of items. Straw mats, sheets, pillows, quilts, sleeping bags, and more. Beds alone split into wooden, spring, hammock, iron frame, even waterbed. Beds are not expensive, but insulated sleeping bags are pricey, and the most exaggerated quilt prices are not even affordable to the big financier. A 6-jean heavy quilt is 500 wood or 200 stone. A goose down quilt is 999 stone or food. A thickened lamb wool quilt is an excellent grade item or large amounts of food and clean water. There is no shortage of lucky people. All those quilts are technically common grade and can come from the easiest iron chests. The air conditioning quilt I am using as a mattress was from an iron chest. Decent luck. But compared to down or cashmere, I am behind. I cannot afford the high-end quilts, and even if I could, I would prioritize food first. I delete the keyword and search just for bed. 500 plus pages, still a lot, but I can see the end. Hammock, no. Big Orange will climb up at night and exceed the weight limit. Round bed, I liked them on Blue Star, but now they take too much space. Wooden plank bed, acceptable. Let me see if there is something softer. There is even a trampoline. How is this being sold? Beds run 20 to 60 wood, slightly nicer ones double or triple that. Oh, this one is good. A 20 centimeter thick spring mattress at 50 wood. Moderate firmness. The wood the system decomposes is neat. Like square steaks, I just stack 2 layers as a base. I private message the seller and trade a cup of coconut juice. 300 milliliters in a bamboo tube. The mattress is 1.5 meters by 2 meters, a small double. I move the recliner aside, lay 8 units of wood as a frame, drop the mattress, put the air conditioning quilt on top, wrap myself in the 4-gin heavy quilt and lie down. Finally a real sleep tonight. Big Orange clambers up in a flash and lies close. 1 trade slot left. It was reserved for brother killer Hyo Ajun. Last night we agreed to trade 100 milliliters of spring water and 100 milliliters of purified seawater for the bone-corroding sand and the Juge repeating crossbow. Plans change. He has not replied to my private message. Probably busy. I scroll trade listings bundled under the bed comfortably. The exchange is full of garbage. Ballpoint pens, stockings, garbage bags, dead battery electric fans. I cannot see practical items at this rate. I need a definite goal. After some thought, I search crafting blueprint. According to chat, as long as the required materials are gathered, the blueprint transforms them into the corresponding item. To build a bed without a blueprint, I would have to handcraft the frame, calculate mortise and tenon, assemble and polish. With a bed blueprint, just feed it wood. Blueprints are reusable, so they tend to be more expensive than finished products, but some are cheap because the items produced are not difficult or have limited use, like a charcoal scroll. I find one, earthenware crafting blueprint. Common grade, collect required materials to craft earthenware. Finished pottery size depends on quantity. Materials are soil and water. 60 wood, about the same as the mattress. I private message and offer coconut juice, but the seller has fresh water already and asks for coconut meat instead. Done. This blueprint comes at exactly the right time. I need larger containers urgently. The most I can get is 6 liters of seawater from chests per day. Enough on paper, but not enough for the high-quality items and tools I want. If I had had more seawater tonight, I would not have settled for 2 gin of meat. COG Gong clearly hunted more than one beast. A view of Brother Killer's life back. A plain-like area, scarce trees and stones, lush grass thick with herbivores and the predators that follow them. For 99% of survivors, that start as a death sentence. But a small group has top combat power and rich wilderness skills, and they can adapt to any environment. Hyo Ajun was originally a top professional killer, one of the best in the industry. The work brought him endless rewards and endless loneliness. He had residences all over the world but no home. Year by year, the loneliness deepened until he was 29. At 29, he took his first failed mission. The hit broke his 100% record, and worse, made him realize his body was already past peak. Right now, he could still claim peak condition. In 3 years, in 5, no. The failure made him want to quit. Work a normal job, marry, have children, build a real home. But you cannot just quit the killer business, especially as a top killer with 194 completed missions. The organization would not give up the weapon, and the karma alone would not let him go. If he lived in one place for 2 months, revenge would follow. A retired top killer faces only assassins from others, until some new legend made a name by stepping over his corpse. The Mist continent arrived just as he did not know where to go, and he liked it here. He could discard the old life. He could tell anyone he was a killer. For him, this is also retiring to the countryside. On his first day, he mapped the beasts around his shelter. He was in a small wolf pack's territory. 6 wolves. For others, this would be a catastrophe. He inspected them. 3 common grade. 3 elite grade. Normal wolves he could take 6 at once with difficulty, but the Mist Continent's wolves are different. Common wolves sturdy as bulls, the elite ones the size of Siberian tigers. Fortunately, he pulled the Flameburst Great Saber from his azure chest, enough to leap a tier in combat. He read the pack's rules. Every hunt 1 elite leads 3 common. The remaining elite stays at the lair as the Wolf King's guard. That afternoon, he caught the pack returning fresh from a kill, guard down. He sneak attacked the elite Grey Wolf with the saber and killed it in 1 blow. The other 3 he handled with only minor injuries, but it was not over. Wolves hold grudges. The remaining 2 elite wolves tracked the scent to his door. After a brief exchange he knew he could not win, and retreated inside. The dilapidated shelter held the 2 wolves out. That night he used the hunt resources to upgrade his shelter, and traded for the Constitution spring water and the antibacterial seawater. From an interesting guy. With those he had a sliver of hope against the 2 wolves. A plan formed. The next day the hunting wolves were gone, so the Wolf King and the guard had to go forage. The window was here. His professional skills were outstanding. The Wolf King did not notice the tracking at all. When the king let down its guard, he hurled the bone-corroding sand. The bone-corroding sand he had promised to the springwater guy. The excellent Wolf King was not comparable to the common ones. He had to take one out first or he had no chance. But man proposes and God disposes. The guard wolf lunged into the path of the sand and took the fatal blow for the king. The corrosive effect exploded at the guard wolf's neck and burned right through. The Wolf King lost reason and charged him, set on killing the man who had isolated it. What the king did not expect was that HOARD had eaten excellent grade wolf meat the night before, stacked with the purification spring water, and his strength had spiked. Even still inferior to the king, he gained the upper hand with the saber and his master-level technique. Finally, he spotted an opening and slashed the king. The injured king regained reason, and knew it could not win and turned to flee. HOARD was enjoying the dance on the blade's edge. He could not let the prey escape, especially after burning the bone-corroding sand he had promised to someone else. He chased. The distance closed because the king was hurt, all the way to the edge of the thick fog zone. He had not caught up, but only just. Unwilling to give it up, he kept going. He was confident he could close the kill at the edge, and his sense of direction was strong. The short distance not a problem for the mist. He stepped in, caught the king, killed it. But the kill brought no joy because the thick mist made it impossible to breathe. Even after he returned to the shelter, the effects of the mist did not leave. He looked for healing items, traded several, all negligible. In despair, he opened his private chat list and saw a message from that interesting little guy. "Sorry, brother killer." The message read, "There was a bit of an accident with the spring water I promised to trade you. But do not worry, I will have enough by tomorrow morning. Remember to save the bone-corroding sand. And Jude's repeating crossbow for me. Back in the cabin, I am considering the matter of cultivating happy sweet potatoes. The soil is solved. One key issue remains. Sweet potatoes are high yield and easy. I know the planting method. Cut into pieces, coat with plant ash, cover with a shallow layer of soil, layer thatch for insulation, water often to keep the soil moist. They sprout quickly and need little maintenance. The critical problem is insulation. Sweet potatoes are not picky about most conditions, but they fear the cold. Even with the continent's plants having vigorous vitality, I cannot expect them to handle the cold air alone. Do I have to wait until after bitter winter to start? A private message arrives. Heyo Ajun. He writes that he is relieved to see I have gone back on my word too. I am stunned for a second, then realize he means our deal. I tell him strictly I did not go back on my word. I just postponed. Right, exactly, he writes. Then it was just me unilaterally going back on my word. I write, "Aw, brother killer. I treated you with sincerity. How could you sell the items to someone else? Can you imagine how much my young heart is hurting?" He writes that he did not sell them to anyone else. He used them himself. He owes me this time, but if nothing unexpected happens, he probably will not have a chance to compensate in the future. I am shocked. The line sounds like a final testament. Has Brother Killer been seriously injured during a hunt? I ask what happened. Are you hurt? This is the Mist Continent with all sorts of magical healing items. If you are in trouble, I will try my best to trade for some. Do not give up on treatment. Silence for a few seconds. Then he replies. He laughs and writes, "I did not expect it, but you are actually a pretty good guy. But do not bother. I have already tried. Healing items are useless." I press, "So you really are injured? What exactly is going on that even healing items are useless?" Honestly, I do not want anything to happen to him. His strength is formidable and might help me in the future. We have a good relationship and he certainly has a lot of beast meat, a long-term trade. He says fine, he will tell me, consider it a warning. Over half an hour he details the environment around his shelter. The wolf pack, the chase, the fog. I listen silently. By the time he mentions the chase, I already have a suspicion. He was eroded by the mist. If there were enough spring water now, he would only need to hold on until midnight, when his trade count refreshes, and I could save his life. Unfortunately, the spring eye produces too slowly. It will be dawn before 200 milliliters accumulate. Based on my experience, lasting until midnight is slim, let alone dawn. Otherwise, Huang Jie Duing would not have been so desperate to trade. I have to treat a dead horse as alive. I inform Heo Ajin, then add, do not get your hopes up too high. As far as I know, one can last at most 3 hours after being eroded. Unexpectedly, Heo Ajin is excited and his replies speed up. Is what you said true? Spring water can actually treat mist erosion. I tell him to listen to the whole thing. Yes, it can treat it, but I do not have any right now. I have to wait until at least dawn. 10 plus hours away, how is he going to hold out? He says he can hold out. I tell him this is not playing house. You cannot just say you will hold out and expect to hold out. He insists. I say it again, 2 or 3 seconds, then I get it. I ask if he has some item that can extend his life. He says, holy crap kid, your brain works fast. He sends item info. Vampire essence. Excellent grade. Condensed from the essence blood of a legendary race with undying abilities. After being applied to the chest, it can trigger some of the vampire race's abilities, granting an undead body for the next 24 hours. I traded for this at a great cost, he writes, thinking I would just live one more day at a time. Did not expect there is truly a way out. I am shocked. A life-saving divine tool. And not just for saving life, also for risking it. The poor fear the aggressive fear the reckless, and the reckless fear those who do not value their lives. Playing with your life at any moment, and playing with your own life specifically, who would not be afraid? Heo Ajun does not expect me to associate so many things, only sees the halted replies. As a killer, he quickly calms down. The value of spring water was already high, and in this situation, no matter what I want, he has no bargaining room. He is in a very tight spot. The mist forced him to use all 3 trade slots today on healing items, and 1 excellent grade vampire essence. Given time, with his skills, he could obtain many precious resources, but it has only been 2 days. After a silent moment, he writes, brother, I am practically penniless right now, but there is still all of tomorrow save the spring water for me. I will gather resources to trade with you, and no matter what I get tomorrow, this flameburst great saber will be yours. The words interrupt my wandering. He thinks my lack of reply means I am raising the price. I write back, what are you saying, brother? Since I told you the spring water can save your life, it means I truly hope you live. Keep the flameburst great saber. It would be a lie to say I do not want it, but it can only exert its greatest power in your hands. He goes silent for a long time and finally replies, telling me we are both men and he will not say much else, just thank you. He had just been prepared to give all his assets to me. After years in the dark zones, he had seen too much of the dark side of humanity and grown used to indifference, his own included. Because he feared forming emotional ties and implicating others, he kept himself closed off. The kindness from me today catches him off guard. It is also the first time in his 10+ years in the killer industry he has seen the light of humanity. In the mysterious Mist Continent 2 shelters, thousands of miles apart, form their first bond. He writes, from now on, my life is yours. If you ever need it, take it anytime. I tell him I accept your thanks, but keep your life for yourself. He insists he is serious. I tell him, oh, all right, do not be so mushy. From now on, we cooperate closely and survive well. He says that is a must. From now on, what is mine is yours. I turn and pat Big Orange's head. Looks like we will not be short of meat from now on. A happy noise. You perked up the instant you heard meat, did you not? For me, purification spring water is not precious. It is a mass-producible resource, so I cannot bring myself to gouge people on price. Of course, that excludes strangers with whom I have no connection. Before trading the spring water, I have one more thing. Heo Ajun has only been active at the edge of the thick fog zone and has not gone deeper. He does not know about the Fogbreaker totem. I tell him to take advantage of the undead body tomorrow to go into the mist and obtain the Fogbreaker reward. The totem reward is based on the survivor's current overall progress. Given his destitute state right now, an S-grade reward would be hard, but an A is easy. Since I am telling him, he should aim for the best. Besides, the guy does not lack ability. If not for this accident, his progress would have been further than mine. He wiped out a wolf pack with a mortal body in 2 days. With combat power like that, I do not believe anyone stably defeats him, even believing the world has fighters above him. I tell him not to rush the raiding, use the undead body to slaughter all the beasts near the shelter he can defeat first, gather resources, then go for the totem. After finishing the chat with Heo Ajun, I quietly check trade postings on the world chat. Although I used today's quota, I can scout practical items for tomorrow. Unless special circumstances arise, I do not intend to use purification spring water as currency for future trades. Although it can be mass-produced, it is only 300 milliliters per day, and most special effect water resources need over 50 milliliters per use. Big Orange and I need a fixed 100 milliliters daily, and if Heo Ajin can really provide meat long-term, I should also share 50 with him. The remaining 150 has to be saved for emergencies. Otherwise, if I accidentally enter a thick fog zone one day, I do not have a second vial of vampire essence to save my life. After the expansion, I have found a few new coconut trees at the sea, while fetching water, but the quantity is small. The only thing I have in large quantities to trade is elite-grade purification seawater. Its value is high, the anti-inflammatory and antibacterial effects are clear. On the Mist Continent, regardless of whether there are beasts around, you cannot avoid injury. Everyone has to do manual labor, chopping or mining. so almost no one will not need purification seawater. The only drawback is slow consumption, which makes long-term exchange for fixed resources hard. I look through trade info and find one piece I am interested in. Constant temperature planting box, elite grade, crafted from special materials, maintains internal temperature, slight acceleration of plant growth. Sweet potato cultivation is sorted, but after private chat the box is 1 cubic meter. The happy sweet potato matures over half a meter long, the box can hold 1. And sweet potatoes can be cut into pieces, the one I have can be divided into at least 20 seeds, so 1 box is a drop in the bucket. I give up. 3 hours pass. The night is still long. I wrap myself in the quilt, lie on the big bed, and fall asleep without realizing. So cold. I wake in a daze. The fire has gone out at some point. Only sparks remain. The night is unbearable, the inside of the cabin like a refrigerator. The weather forecast only shows daytime, but indoors is below 0 now. The level 2 boards are seamless but not insulating, and under just a thin cotton quilt I am shivering. I get up to relight the fire and move around until my body temperature returns. Big Orange is sleeping soundly at my feet, its pure yang body keeping my feet from freezing. Twice more I wake in the cold and add firewood. Even after 10+ hours of sleep, my sleep quality is poor, no deep sleep. I develop a slight fever. Fortunately, the spring water regulates my body. I do not know how the survivors without enough warm items survive. I am in the top 1% per the Fogbreaker totem, and even I find the cold tricky. A few hours before dawn I make breakfast. I put the 400 grams of meat left from last night on the fireplace. The frozen meat softens under the heat. Big Orange has woken up at some point and is squatting by the bed, eyeing the meat. I tell it no wonder they call you a little glutton. You did not wake up in this cold, but the moment I cook something you wake up immediately. A happy bark. All right, I cannot eat that much. There is a portion for you. I do not know when you will grow up. I am counting on you to help me dominate the battlefield. Big Orange has a huge appetite. The 2 pieces of hyena meat from Seo Jigong would have been enough for me alone for several days. With Big Orange, it is all gone in one night. The announcement said native creature activity will greatly increase today. Should I take Big Orange out to try? Big Orange is still juvenile and the system rates it common grade, but its size is about that of an ordinary hunting dog. If a dog of this size can hunt, then a saber-toothed tiger should be even fiercer. I have no understanding of Big Orange's combat power, only that its strength is very strong. When I tried to mess up its newly groomed fur last night, it struggled hard and escaped my grip with ease. Now my body has at least been enhanced by elite-grade hyena meat and 2 days of spring water. Much better than an ordinary person. For Big Orange, that bit of strength is nothing. After the meat is roasted, I tear off about a quarter for myself and give the rest to Big Orange. It eats a lot and grows fast, its size increasing at a visible speed. After my piece, the familiar fire kicks in. Squats, jumps, push-ups to absorb the surge, then I keep going at lower intensity. The system announcement put pressure on me. Native creature activity is becoming frequent. I will do 1 or 2 physical training sessions every day going forward. The weather page reads sunny, -3 to 5 Celsius, sunrise 10 in the morning, daylight 6 hours, climate trend bitter winter is getting closer. Cherish this good weather and try to collect food and cold-resistant supplies. Daytime is shorter, 6 hours, I have to cherish it. I stand at the cabin door, feel the howling wind, grit my teeth, put on the trench coat, and walk out. First I take 2 boxes for seawater. This seawater is for the big financier. After 2 trades with Wang Ixin, intentionally letting him take advantage, we have established initial trust. We agreed for me to use the spatial backpack this morning. Conditions are borrowing and returning will be done through the friend gifting function, so it will not affect the once-a-day trade. Secondly, I will first gift Wang Ixin 2 boxes of purification seawater as collateral, so even if I take the backpack and do not return, he does not lose much. Finally, after borrowing, the 2 boxes of purification seawater become the payment, no need to return. While the bead purifies the seawater, I dig soil hard. I want to use the pottery blueprint to make as many utensils as possible. Half an hour later, I have the spatial backpack and load a full backpack of soil. Head for the beach. Soil and water both satisfied. As my thoughts move, the crafting blueprint glows soft white. The soil and seawater enveloped by the light rapidly take shape and solidify at a speed visible to the naked eye. This pass, I produce a water vat with a 50-liter capacity, 2 clay pots for soup and cooking, and several bowls, dishes, and cups. I fill the vat with seawater and stuff it into the spatial backpack. On the way back, I collect all the new coconuts at the sea, 6 in total, and return to the shelter easily. The spatial backpack is really useful. If I had to carry all this by hand, I could not finish even after working myself to death for 2 days. With the backpack, it only takes a little over an hour. There is time left before the agreed return, so I go transport the elite-grade soil I found near the bamboo forest yesterday. Almost an hour of digging, and even with my enhanced body, my hands on the pickaxe are chafed and blistered. But it is worth it. The plot outside the cabin window is now piled high with leaf mold. The planting temperature problem is not solved yet, but there must be a solution among the strange items in this world. The backpack time expires. Reluctantly gritted teeth, I return it to the big financier. The communicator buzzes. Heyo Ajin. I contacted him before dawn to tell him I have enough spring water. He said no rush, he wants to use the undead body to hunt some beasts before trading so he can give me meat alongside it. Xiangrang, he writes, the system announcement was right. An extraordinary number of beasts today, so far he has taken down 4 elite grade. Brother Killer is awesome, I write. I am genuinely shocked. Even with the undead body, without skill you cannot get to that level in 3 hours. If it were me with the undead body, just a legendary punching bag. He laughs and says the harvest is pretty good and he is preparing to enter the thick fog zone for the totem. Alright, I write. As long as you are confident in an S rating, let us trade now. We conduct our first trade of the day. I send 200 milliliters of spring water and the fog-piercing goggles. Brother Killer sends 2 elite-grade meat steaks and the Juge repeating crossbow. He writes that since he has to undergo evaluation in a moment, he will give me 2 gene of meat first and trade more after rewards. No rush, I tell him. This meat is enough for now. Do not waste the trade slot. He agrees. He grumbles that it is really inconvenient without a gifting function, and wonders whether level 3 has new friend slots. I hold the Zhuge repeating crossbow and cannot put it down. Earlier I had encountered a flock of wild chickens while collecting leaf mold near the bamboo forest. Without a weapon I had resisted the urge to strike. If I used the iron pickaxe for close quarters I could, but I would likely get injured and might not even win. Those wild chickens are no ordinary chickens. Common grade but 3 times the size of a normal rooster, hard beaks, razor-sharp claws, not to be trifled with. Now is different. The crossbow drops the risk dramatically. The elite-grade weapon still has solid power past 100 meters. I was an archery enthusiast back on Blue Star and the monthly archery club was one of my few entertainments. My accuracy is fine, but a bow and a crossbow are not the same. I need to get familiar with the operation. Daylight is limited, so the training is simple. Around the shelter, half an hour. Confirmed, no issues. I go home to call backup. Big Orange, time to go to work. It zips over and rubs my pant leg. Man and Tiger march toward the wild chicken flock. Near the destination, Big Orange, who had been strolling, senses the prey and snaps into hunt mode. Its hind paws land in the prints of its front paws as it walks. It crouches low, using the tall grass, and moves without a sound. Max level feline, hunting wired in. Influenced by Big Orange, I try to crouch too. Surprisingly effective. I reach the 100-meter range without alarming the flock. What I do not know is that my amateur stealth has long since been spotted. The flock simply does not consider me a threat. We had crossed paths earlier when I was digging leaf mold and both sides stayed peaceful, so they ignored my approach. 100 meters is my accuracy limit. I want to close the gap. I bend low and slowly close in. 80 meters, 70, 60. At 50 meters, the nearest chicken moves. Casually walks further off. Continues hunting bugs. I close in, it walks. I close in, it walks. Could I have been spotted? The realization lands. What I saw as perfect concealment looks like a joke to the chickens. My face flushes even though no one else is around. So embarrassing, really so embarrassing. Since you look down on me, I tell the chicken inwardly, do not blame me for being ruthless. Eat my 5 arrows. To ensure accuracy, I fire 5 at once. 5 whistles in half a second. 3 miss. 1 hits the body, 1 hits the neck. I actually was aiming for the head. The result is the same. The elite grade bolt punches through the neck and continues with undiminished momentum into the soil. The wild chicken lets out one mournful cry and collapses. I laugh. Looks like this genius has talent for hunting. I walk over to loot. That is when the surroundings go quiet. The ambient noise of 30 or 40 wild chickens foraging for bugs cuts out instantly. They all raise their heads and stare at me. 2 seconds later, they all charge at once. Holy crap. Are these even chickens? In my understanding, the others should have scattered after one was killed, not swarmed. Big Orange. Time to run. 30 or 40 wild chickens would be hard for even Hyo Ajun, let alone us. Big Orange, hidden until now, pounces toward the nearest chicken like a bolt of lightning. A simple paw swipe knocks the chicken to the ground, then a bite through the neck. Less than 2 seconds. The remaining chickens stop in their tracks looking at the appearance of Big Orange. Big Orange, still locking the throat, senses something. A tiger's roar rings out and the flock scatters and flees. The 2 common-grade wild chickens drop a little over a pound of chicken meat in total. For some reason, 1 wild chicken does not drop a mist bead. I guess strength matters. Mist beads condense from flesh and blood. The wild chicken's body is not big and its strength is not outstanding, so the energy was not enough to condense a full bead. Plus 2 iron chests. I open them. Each chest has 1 item. The first is a set of casual men's clothing. Not bad. At least I have clothes to change. The second is a common-grade short knife, which I plan to use as a kitchen knife. Overall, mediocre. Just 2 common wild chickens. No big haul expected. The items from monster chests are shabbier than the system-distributed ones. Probably tied to prey strength. Brother Killer pulled many elite items on day 1 because his prey was a wolf. Between a wolf and a chicken, it is clear who is stronger. Big Orange surprises me. I had thought it would be a mascot until adulthood, but its combat performance today completely crushed mine. I pat its head, Good job, I will grill you an elite meat cutlet tonight. A happy noise. Daylight is almost over and today is again a day with no tree chopping. Fortunately, the big financier exists. Otherwise, who knows when I could upgrade to level 3 by myself. I had never felt daytime was so insufficient back on Blue Star. I had planned to chop yesterday but spent the day moving soil. Today, pottery and hunting. I found a few elite grade trees in the leaf mold area, originally common grade fir, likely upgraded by the nourishment of the soil. 40 minutes to dark, awkward to start anything significant, but I will not waste it. Why not walk around behind the shelter? After level 2, I have not explored behind, completely unknown. My current position is to the left of the shelter. I pack the spoils into an empty chest and plan a semicircular detour to the back, then return directly. Man and Tiger unhurriedly check for resources. We discover a peanut field, white-skinned peanuts, common grade, a nutty plant with high-quality protein, high in calories and oil. A good choice for consumption, providing moderate fullness. Peanuts can be eaten, pressed for oil, ground into powder for seasoning. Broad uses. The field is small, a dozen plants. Even with the continent's plant size, collecting all of them would only yield 10 caddies. Not a problem, I have a large rotting leaf soil patch. Some get eaten, some saved for planting. I note the location and continue. Just when I think today's exploration is done, I find a large patch of berries directly behind the shelter. I pick 2 and taste them. Shape and taste similar to plums, sweet and sour. Quite refreshing. The berries are abundant. Storage will be short because of high water content. Maybe 5 or 6 days even in cold, but at least no shortage of fruit. The shelter location is actually quite good. I used to envy others near rivers or farmland. After a few days, my spawn point is not bad. Coconut trees and seawater in front, elite grade wood and soil to the left, peanuts and fruit behind. A survivor's needs covered. The sky darkens, unknown roars come through the distant fog. Big orange tenses, bear's teeth, low growl, scanning. I run for the shelter. Wild beasts are active even in daytime now. Night is worse. I make it back before full dark. First the fire. As the flame lights up the cabin, my tense body relaxes. I need to be more careful from now on. Daytime is precious, but I cannot cut it this close. Safety first. I pour coconut juice and the cool sweet drink hits. Refreshed. Dinner. I take the chicken meat from the chest, drop it into an earthenware pot, add elite grade purified seawater. Cover. Place in the fireplace to simmer. Things are looking up. I am having chicken soup on the mist continent. My salivary glands are working overtime. So many days without normal food. Last night's elite grade hyena meat was good, but only pan-fried on a stone slab. Fragrant without seasoning, something missing. Today is different. Authentic wild chicken soup. The unadorned deliciousness even without salt. A private message lands. I expect Brother Killer or Big Financier, but it is unexpected. Huang Jidiang. He asks whether I have any elite grade wood or stone. Says he can trade iron with me. I straighten up. Upgrading to level 3 needs 200 wood and 200 stone, not hard for some lucky ones. Wang Ixin, with the excellent grade axe and spatial backpack, can gather them in half a day. The reason I have not upgraded is iron. I asked Brother Killer and unfortunately no traces of iron near him either. Iron is extremely scarce. Let alone the 3 of us, I have not seen anyone trading it in chat. I am very surprised by Huang Jidang's inquiry, only able to sigh that he truly is someone who dared to enter the thick fog zone on the first morning. I write, I have both elite grade wood and stone. How do you want to trade? He writes, for wood 1 to 5. 1 iron block for 5 elite wood. For stone 1 to 3. Too expensive, I reply. Although iron is scarce, it is ultimately common grade while my wood and stone are elite. If I guess right, Huang Jidiang is preparing to upgrade to level 3 with elite materials. A level 3 shelter built from a large amount of elite grade materials. Defense alone surpasses one made of common materials. I marvel inwardly. What a grand gesture. Although I have thought about using elite grade for the level 3 upgrade, it was still just an idea. He has already acted and is close to finishing. He writes, it is not expensive, this is a fair price. Iron is currently priceless, and elite grade wood and stone are rare, but there are still others selling. After thought I reply, alright, I go with the price, but I do not have materials on hand right now. How much do you need? He says he still needs 150 stones and 100 wood, and the trade must be by tomorrow night at the latest. Tomorrow is fine, I write, but the quantity is too small. By his ratio, I would only get 70 iron blocks, not useful to me. He says he only needs this much material now. I write, are these materials all for upgrading? After upgrading, there will definitely be new constructions. Are you planning to upgrade in elite and build in common? That silences him. He had overlooked it. He is not short-sighted. Anyone who can upgrade their shelter at this point is no ordinary person. He was simply focused on the upgrade and strictly planning resources, wanting maximum utilization, which led to him exchanging only for current needs. He writes, alright, but I can only offer another 100 iron blocks for a total trade value of 170 blocks, and you have to guarantee the minimum quantity of 150 stones and 100 wood. I confirm. I will contact him at this time tomorrow night. I immediately contact Wang Ixin. Big financier, how was the battle today? How much granite did you get? He replies fast. With a spatial backpack, everything is different. He diligently mined stone all day and got over 900 pieces of granite. Holy crap, Boss Wang is awesome, I write. He says it is nothing. Come on, big brother. How much do I need? Trade him some elite grade seawater. Because I used 2 boxes of purified seawater to borrow the backpack today, he actually is not lacking water at all. His offer to trade for seawater is a return gesture, indirectly proving his character is not bad. At least he will not abandon someone after getting what he needed. Meanwhile, in a small wooden house thousands of miles away, Wang Ixin is eating compressed biscuits from a treasure chest and drinking purified seawater. He mumbles, "Why is Big Brother taking so long to reply?" The communicator buzzes. He sees the text and sprays purified seawater across the floor. I need at least 650 stones. Huang Jidang needs a minimum of 100 wood, which exchanges here for 20 iron. The remaining transaction limit of 150 iron requires 450 stones. Add the 200 stones for my own upgrade. 650 is just right. A few extra would be even better for post-upgrade construction. Wang Ixin writes, "Big brother, do not joke with me." "I am not joking," I write. "It would be best to have even more." "Even more?" he asks. "I thought the upgrade only took 200 stones. What are you doing with so many?" At that moment, Wang Ixin even suspects whether I am trying to fleece him. "Forget it," he writes. "I do not care what you are doing. But let us get this straight first. I can trade 500 stones for purified seawater, but the rest will have to be traded for other things." I understand. 500 for seawater is actually very good. Wang Ixin already has 2 crates of seawater. Using it as an anti-inflammatory would last a long time. It is a resource that already exceeded utility for him. Of course, he could take the seawater to trade with others, but the market for excellent grade stone is not worse than seawater. No need for the extra step. "Deal," I write. Then 5 liters of seawater for 500 stones and 100 milliliters of excellent grade purification spring water for 300 stones, 800 in total. "Damn, big brother," he writes. "You are even willing to trade excellent grade spring water." "Cannot be helped," I write. "I have a big gap to fill. I had not wanted to trade spring water again. The effects are too significant. Stacks with food to enhance constitution, regulates the body to treat colds and fevers, resolves residual mist effects. No exaggeration to say 80% of my current development progress is due to the spring water." Wang Ixin does not know whether to be happy or helpless. He really wants the spring water, but if he gives me all 800 stones, he has nothing left to trade for other items today. "Not a big problem," I write. "Let us do it in 2 batches. I do not have enough spring water now anyway. 500 for the seawater first, the remaining 300 tomorrow." "A light at the end of the tunnel," he writes. "You are my real big brother." After finalizing with Wang Ixin, the chicken soup is almost done. Time to improve strength too. I take out the excellent grade meat cutlet from Brother Killer. 1 gin of meat. I cut a 1/5 for myself and feed the rest to Big Orange. Habit puts my portion on the fireplace to sear. Unexpectedly, Big Orange walks over with its portion in its mouth and rubs vigorously against me. I ask, "What? You want yours seared too?" A happy noise. "I did not realize you were such a civilized tiger." After eating my leftover meat cutlet this morning, Big Orange immediately felt it was much more delicious than what it had eaten last night. As a smart tiger, it figured out the difference was the fireplace processing. Although the Pooper Scooper's hunting skills are trash, he has a way with food, so Big Orange decided that its portion from now on has to be processed by me before being eaten. After the human and tiger finish the cutlets, Big Orange lies down to rest while I burn off the energy surge again. Big Orange cannot understand what the Pooper Scooper is doing. Even if the food tastes good, is it really so delicious that he has to jump and bounce around? Half an hour later, it has all metabolized. Although I do not feel hungry because my whole body is full of energy, I cannot wait to take the chicken soup out of the fireplace. A thick, fresh aroma fills the cabin. I use a ceramic spoon, blow on it. 1 mouthful goes down. Fresh and delicious. Even the cold around me seems pushed back a bit. After several more gulps, I sigh. This chicken tastes very chickeny. Too bad I do not have any friend slots left. Otherwise, I could send some to Brother Killer. While drinking, I browse the exchange. Gold clear and excellent grade axe or saw. I only have a common grade iron saw. Using it on excellent grade cedar is too hard. The blade would wear flat in a few trees. Time consuming and laborious. Tomorrow, I plan to spend all day felling cedar. I do not expect an excellent grade farm tool like the big financiers, but I still need an excellent grade one. Scanning the exchange, 3 types of logging tools, axes, saws, and billhooks, plus odd items like a chainsaw without electricity and a diesel saw with only 1 tank of fuel. Honestly, I am tempted by the diesel saw. Although only 1 tank, it is fully automatic. Unfortunately, the price is 500 stones, too expensive. An ordinary excellent grade axe is around 350 stones. Fully automatic is good but not lasting, and for a man, not being lasting is the worst thing. After hesitating, I choose an excellent grade cleaver saw, mainly because the price is 50 excellent grade stones, which I just happen to afford without negotiating. Steel cleaver saw, excellent grade, forged from high quality steel, Dual purpose, one side a sharp saw blade, the other a cleaver. The felling method decided by the thickness of the tree. I am satisfied. It can both chop and saw. The blade reaches 1.2 meters. Can even be used as a weapon at a critical moment. After the trade, I only have one trading opportunity left. I have not decided what to use it on, so I check the channel. Brothers, things are looking up for me too. Today I got an excellent grade item from a bronze treasure chest. Where are you all picking up chests? Aside from the guaranteed chest from the system, I have not even seen an iron treasure chest. Do not compare to the lucky ones. My bronze only dropped common items. Devastated. What items? If warmth preserving, they are not bad. The temperature is dropping way too fast. Yeah, I accidentally fell into a puddle today and almost died from hypothermia. Fortunately, I urgently traded for a bowl of excellent grade ginger soup on the exchange. Do not even talk about it. I could not sleep at all last night. Why? Was it because you were not sleepy? Why did you not sleep? I did sleep. Wrapped in a thick cashmere quilt, slept very soundly. Blacklisted. Closing the chat, I admire their good mindset. On second thought, every survivor is alone in some corner of the world. Cold, fear, confusion, loneliness. One's own weakness cannot combat these negative emotions. The world chat is the only place to communicate and relieve pressure. Heo Ajin stumbles back to the shelter. Even with the fog-piercing goggles and the undead body, he nearly died in the thick fog zone today. Brother Killer's left arm from the forearm down has completely disappeared, blood gushing out uncontrollably. A mysterious surge of red energy at the stump is constantly repairing the injury, the severed left arm slowly regenerating. But as the wound is repaired, Heo Ajun's entire physique becomes increasingly gaunt. The robust body vanishes, cheeks sunken. If not for the remaining signs of life, he would look exactly like a dried-up corpse. About 2 hours left on the vampire essence, enough for the left hand to grow back. Enduring the pain, Heo Ajun takes out an excellent grade meat cutlet. He does not bother cooking, gnaws raw. As a full pound enters his stomach, his shriveled body fills out again, and the recovery at the stump accelerates slightly. He exhales. As a top-tier killer, his control over his body is precise as a machine, and he has long since mapped the cap on Mist Continent food, about 150 grams of excellent grade at a time, before the energy overloads. Time to deal with the mist inside. The vampire essence is maintaining basic functions, but the moment the undead body wears off, the mist still in his chest will kill him. He takes out the spring water and pours it down slowly. A smile plays at the corner of his mouth. He really has to thank Cheongrang, otherwise he would have really kicked the bucket here. He opens the communicator and finds I have already sent him a message. Brother Killer, look at this. Chicken soup. Authentic free-range forest chicken, incredibly delicious. Too bad we are not friends and I cannot send it so you do not get to enjoy this treat. A picture attached, large chunks of chicken and golden chicken soup steaming in a clay pot. He shakes his head and laughs. This kitty clicks the picture again and unconsciously swallows his saliva. Inside the island cabin, I am holding the repeating crossbow and practicing inside the cabin. Due to the morning's hunt, one of the bolts flew off to who knows where, so only 9 of the original 10 remain. Thinking about the one trading opportunity left, I had checked the exchange earlier. Ordinary bolts are 1 stone each, excellent grade 10 times that. 1 bolt for 10 stones or 1 excellent grade stone. A private message. I pull a bolt that is a third of the way into the wood. Set it aside, take out the communicator. Heo Ajin. You kids sent that picture on purpose to make me jealous, he writes. If you really wanted me to have chicken soup, you cannot gift it, but you can trade it. Oh, Brother Killer, I write. What are you saying? I was just afraid of wasting your daily trade limit. With a Doge face tag. The truth, I have nothing I urgently want to trade for, even the bolts are not a priority. While he spent a lot of stockpile yesterday on mist solutions, and every slot is vital. He writes, I do not mind, I had a bumper harvest today. My eyes light up. Got an S-rank evaluation for the Mistbreaker totem. What good stuff did you get? Post it so I can feast my eyes. After a long while, I see typing repeatedly. I wonder what the hell Brother Killer is doing, writing an essay. The other side eventually sends 1 letter and 1 symbol. S+. So you were not typing, you were thinking about how to show off. He cleared the hidden tear I had missed during my own draw. He writes, this humble one is unlearned and truly did not know how to brag, so I had to simply state the facts in a plain and unadorned way. Blocked, I write. Do not block, he writes. I prepared a gift for you. I almost lost my life for this gift. Save it, I write. Do not think I do not know you have the undead body today. It is true, he writes. Undead body is only relative immortality, not absolute. I get serious. What happened? The effect of the undead body is to consume the energy within your own body to repair injuries and maintain vital signs, he explains. But if the severity of the injury exceeds your own limits, even the undead body will not save you. So you mean the law of conservation of energy, I write. A damn item is following science. Pretty much, he writes. Anyway, I was rampaging through the thick fog zone today, and just when I thought I was invincible, I ran into a tough customer. First, I found a fruit on a large tree. It was excellent grade. I thought, is this not the classic scenario of a protagonist's fortuitous encounter in a novel? I was not impulsive, I observed first. I did not know until I checked, but the system identified the large tree growing the fruit as a tree demon. Without a doubt, a tree demon that can grow excellent grade fruit must be excellent grade. So you went up and fought the tree demon, I write. Did you win? What are you thinking, he writes. Did I win? I definitely could not win. At the time, I just wanted to rely on the undead body and the fact that the tree demon could not move to find an opportunity to pluck the fruit and leave. In the end, I did pluck the fruit, but I underestimated excellent grade combat power. Every branch was like a giant python. Half of my body smashed to pieces. The energy in my body was not enough for the undead body to repair such a severe injury. Fortunately, I had many excellent grade beast meats on me. By swallowing the energy from those foods, I barely managed to save my life. His words leave me silent for a long time, not because the terrifying excellent grade combat power exceeds my expectations, but because of the tree demon itself. I lower my head and mutter to myself, so a creature beyond comprehension has finally appeared. I had guessed before that the mist continent was too bizarre, that not only various powerful beasts live there, but all sorts of idealistic existences would also exist. Guessing was one thing. When reality truly appears, it still fills my heart with gloom. Survival is already so difficult now. Hundreds of millions of humans unable to eat or keep warm. Yet this was merely the beginning. HOARD on the other side seems to sense the fluctuation in my mood. The creatures of the mist continent are indeed powerful, he writes, but there are also many items and tools that can enhance our strength. We can even assimilate the power of local creatures for our own use. For example, this fruit. I risked danger to pluck it because I wanted to cultivate a powerful creature like the tree demon. I reply with a smile, do not worry, brother killer. I am not so easily discouraged. By the way this fruit can be cultivated, the gift you mentioned earlier would not happen to be it, would it? That is right, he writes. I will send you the item information so you can see for yourself. I think it is very suitable for you. Evergreen tree demon fruit. Excellent grade. This is a magical creature born with self-awareness that cannot be definitively classified as a plant or animal. After consuming this fruit, it can clear impurities from the body and fundamentally improve human genes. Note, this fruit can also be used for cultivation. The evergreen tree demon is different from common grade plants. It uses water as nutrients. If there is sufficient and high-quality water, it can theoretically grow infinitely. Powerful, my first reaction. First, consumption clears impurities and improves human genes. I do not quite grasp what gene improvement means, but it does not matter. With only one fruit, I will not eat it directly. Second, cultivation, practically tailor-made for me. As long as there is sufficient water, it can grow infinitely. Infinite growth. Wouldn't that mean I could feed a dozen tons of purified seawater to the evergreen tree demon seed and directly cultivate excellent grade or even excellent rank combat power in the short term? Brother killer, I write, is this really for me? Isn't it a bit too valuable? No exaggeration. Apart from not being able to run, this thing is far more excellent than Big Orange in all other aspects. Big Orange shoots me a look. Of course it is for you, HOARD writes. This thing can only unleash its maximum power in your hands. As for being valuable, you saved my life. Can this thing be more valuable than my life? Of course not, I write. There you go, he writes. This thing is far more valuable than your life. He sends a question mark. If you were in front of me, I would definitely pin you to the ground and beat you, I write. I saved some chicken soup for you and it is still being kept warm on the fireplace. Good brother. As the trade completes, I receive not only one fruit, but also 2 jin of elite meat. I have not misjudged the person. HOARD is indeed a friend worth making. The fact that he is willing to gift the tree demon fruit unconditionally means the other party also considers me one of his own. He indicates that if there is not enough elite meat in the future, just ask. I gladly agree and think to myself, you clearly do not know Big Orange's appetite, otherwise how could you dare to say that? He does not know about Big Orange, so in his view, giving me a total of 4 jin today would last me 10 plus days. However, I have already decided to reserve a portion of the spring water for him every day from now on. Poor Homestead Spring Eye. Apart from the 300 milliliters of spring water it came with when obtained, it has been in a dry state the rest of the time. Every time a little bit accumulates, it gets taken away by me, and now it even incurs external debts. By the way, brother killer, I write, what reward did you get from the mist totem? Every excellent grade item is powerful. I am not just curious, I want to understand more information about the mist continent. You might as well guess what grade of item I obtained first, he writes. Could it be excellent rank? I write, holy crap, brother killer, carry me. You are dreaming, he writes. Excellent rank is not that easy to get. Even with an S+ rating, the probability of getting excellent rank is pitifully low. Indeed, excellent rank stays 1 to 2%, even doubled, not much in it. Special items are different, 9 to 18%. That gap matters. So that means it is a special item, I write. That is right, he writes, both are special items. Wow, you are the real shill. This is not much different from the probability of drawing an excellent rank item. It is my first time being a shill, and I am so happy. He sends an item info. Diluted vampire bloodline special. A potion fused from unknown ingredients and a small amount of vampire genes. After injection, one can obtain a small portion of vampire abilities. Note, each survivor can only inject one bloodline potion. This item gives me more knowledge about the Mist Continent. Humans can not only enhance their strength through food, but also inject bloodline potions. Whether there are other methods is unknown, but I guess there are. HOARD also has a connection with the vampires. He relied on vampire essence to sustain his life, thereby obtaining the Mistbreaker reward. And the reward happened to give him a vampire bloodline. I cannot help suspecting that there seems to be an unknown existence in the dark influencing their direction of development. However, this special item of his could be said to be very well matched. His own excellent fighting skills combined with vampire recovery, the bonus to combat power is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Of course, Big Orange being a special grade is not bad either. In gaming terms, Hyo-Ajun is the combat type. I am the cultivation type. Wait, there is another reward I write. You said 2 special items. What is wrong is the other item, the Sunflower Manual. Why is it so hard for you to say? That is not it, he writes. It is just that I do not know what this thing is used for. Forget it, see for yourself. Curious. There are items in hand that he does not know how to use. Because of this system, almost every item on the Mist Continent has usage instructions or at the very least a description of its functional purpose. Wait, there is one type of item that has no instructions at all, and many people know about it, but its purpose is indeed unknown. Could it be? HOARD lists 2 new mist beads in the trade window, Chaos and Void, 1,000 of each, and the names jump off the screen at me. Just as I expected. I first heard about mist beads from Seo Jagang, who explained that when you kill a beast, the bulk of its flesh condenses into a bead, and ever since I have been keeping an eye on the math. The stronger the creature, the better the bead, while a runt of a kill might condense nothing at all. The suffix attaches to the creature's elemental nature, and Seo Jigong's earth bead made sense, and the fire bead I picked up off a wild chicken made sense too, because chickens carry fire in every culture, but chaos and void sit outside the 5 elements entirely. I rack my brain over what kind of beast condenses chaos and what condenses void and come up with nothing. Whatever, I will know when I know. Still, that mist beads turn up in the special reward column of the Mistbreaker totems is a tell on its own. They are going to matter later, and I should hoard them where I can. Brother Killer agrees in the chat. He has put down over 100 so far, the full 5 elements suite covered. But Chaos and Void are absent from his stack too. 3 trades burned, my conversation with Brother Killer wrapped. I shut the communicator. Big Orange is already on the bed, paws tucked under its chin, snoring through that little tiger nose. Usually it is a night owl and lectures me about how late I stay up. Look at this little tiger going to sleep before its poop scooper. I feed the fireplace another piece of wood, pull the quilt to my chin, and try to settle. The temperature keeps sliding. In sleep I drift toward the fireplace by inches, without noticing, the way a body knows where heat is even when the mind is gone. Until the fire dies and the cold yanks me awake. Only 2 hours of real sleep on the panel. After that, I never get a deep one back. I drift in and out, feeding the fire, freezing, until the communicator reads 8 in the morning and I give up. The weather page is grim. Sunny, -9 to -2 degrees Celsius. Sunrise at 10 in the morning. Daylight only 5 hours. The system's climate note reads that there is not much good weather left, and I should plan my precious daylight well, which is the system's way of clearing its throat before something worse arrives. The daytime temperature has dropped below freezing for the first time, and the daylight window has shrunk again. Every breath I take pulls a knife of cold all the way to my lungs. I have to get something warmer, because this thin quilt is not holding up another night. I make a note to fit charcoal making into the daylight today. 2 hours until dawn. I pull an elite steak out of storage, drop it into a clay pot dry, no water, lid on, and shove it into the fireplace. Dry steaming the way it gets done back home. The trick keeps the meat aroma locked in and the juice intact, and the meat goes tender. Dry steaming only works on quality meat, the sort of game and pasture-raised stuff that earns the heat. Try it on feedlot poultry and it will only render out as cardboard. On the Mist Continent that is not an issue, because no matter what the meat came off of, it was running wild 10 minutes before it was on the slab. While the pot works, I take out the repeating crossbow and run through the draw cycle a few hundred times. Big Orange charges, I shoot from behind, that is the working arrangement going forward. I have a baseline at ranged work. I have nothing at melee, and I do not even like watching boxing. So there is no armchair theory to lean on either. The Mist Continent rewards the jack of all trades, and where that fails, lean into what you already have. With Big Orange up front, the melee gap stops being a real gap. An hour into practice, the dry steaming smell's about done. I glance over at Big Orange to wake it, and freeze. I have been so locked into the crossbow I missed what was in front of me. Big Orange is the size of a full-grown male wolf. I start to tell it to wake up. Dead orange, and then I stop short. A night. A single night, and the size jump is unreal. I pull the communicator out and run an appraisal. The system reads saber-toothed tiger cub, grade reclassified from common to elite. Just like that. The graph has bent. With an elite grade pet at my side, my safety margin just multiplied, and I cannot hold the grin off my face. Big Orange yawns up at me. First sleep must. Years at attention. I tell it good morning, King Orange. No rush. Sleep some more if it wants. It tilts its head at me with a full question mark expression and decides this is more of its poop scooper's nonsense and lets it go. I cut into the steak, keep a fifth for myself and slide the rest into Big Orange's bowl. The tiger eats the lot inside 30 seconds, looks up at me, and asks for another. I am bleeding silver from the eyes already, but I pan fry a second elite steak and hand that over too. Strength is up, appetite is up to match. The math on this little glutton is going to break me. Breakfast done, the sky cracks bright over the cabin. I crack the door open and the wind hits my face like a slap that has been saving up. This temperature is honest to God lethal. I tighten the trench coat over the thermal underwear and step outside. First, the 10,000-year pine tree demon. Brother Killer's gift seed has been sitting in my space since yesterday, and I owe it a planting. I loosen the dirt at the front of the cabin with the pickaxe and drop the seed in. No fertilizer, no fancy soil. The tree demon is not really a plant, so the dirt is just a holding bed. I pour about 500 milliliters of elite purified seawater over it and watch the topsoil drink it down. Then I move on to the charcoal pile. To save time, I message Wang Ixin for some wood directly. The big financier says he has not gotten to making any charcoal yet and asks if I will burn him a batch alongside mine while I am at it. And I tell him sure, send the wood. The system decomposed wood comes out in tidy square stakes that stack like kindergarten blocks. Ideal for charcoal, much easier than wrestling raw logs. I build the pile the way my grandfather did. 3 stakes upright in a tripod, the rest stacked in widening rings around the tripod. The smallest pieces on the outside is the ignition shell. Once the wood is stacked, I daub a thick mud cap over the entire pile, sealing every crack except a fist-sized vent at the top. I light the wood through the vent, wait for the fire to creep down through the layers, and when the middle ring catches, I slap the vent shut with another patty of mud. Air denied, the fire cannot burn through, but the trapped heat is enough to cook off the impurities and leave pure charcoal behind. I will leave it sealed until dusk before I crack it open. That gives me the rest of the day to head out to the bamboo forest and put the cutting saw to some elite fir. A trench-coated young man with a saw in his fist swings at the trunk of a fir tree in the thin mist zone and sings at the top of his lungs. The lyrics are a mess of half-remembered drinking songs from back home. Something about 1,000 cups of wine and the autumn wind and rain, and the wrongs spoken out of a mouth that never carries a single word of feeling. There is nobody for kilometers and I have not heard music in days, so I sing badly and unembarrassed. Nourished by the excellent humus soil on this side of the shelter, some of the firs have already pushed up to elite grade. There are not many, around 10 of them, each thick at the trunk, and tall enough that one tree should yield 50 or 60 units of wood. My plan was to drop every elite fir in the patch and haul them home in a day, but a few swings in, I realized I was dreaming. Even after picking up the cutting saw to handle elite-grade trees, I had still underestimated how hard fir actually is. One stroke of the blade only carves about a centimeter into the bark. The exaggeration is small. It is not much better than the original stone axe. What saves the day is that my body is not the same. The corporate office worker who needed to sit down after one tree is gone. 3 or 4 hours of high-intensity labor and I am still standing. The cutting saw is doubled too. The chop edge for muscle, the saw edge for the lazy stretches. I switch back and forth, blade when I am fresh, saw when I am tired, and the felling rate creeps up to about 1 tree every 40 minutes. Not enough to clear the patch, but enough to push for 300 units of wood. I owe Huang Jidong 100 for trade. I need 200 to upgrade the shelter to level 3. Wang Ixin is handling stone. If today closes clean, tonight my shelter goes to level 3. I do not know yet whether any other survivor has hit level 3. Even if a few have, the count is small enough that the world chat has not lit up about it. Cross the line today and I am ahead of 99% of humanity at this exact moment in time. I swing harder. Big Orange I have already turned loose to hunt the patch on its own. At elite grade it can run circles around anything in this range. There are not many beasts near here anyway, and Big Orange is a mist continent native and a feline king, untouched by the fog the way survivors are. The blade lands and lands. The cold cannot stop the sweat from soaking through my shirt. By the time daylight has only half an hour left, the tally is 280 units of elite fur, short of 300 by a hair, but the daylight has me by the throat, and the shelter is the only place to be after dark. Big Orange trots back to me with its share of the take, 5 gin of common grade meat steaks and 2 iron treasure chests. Not even the real prize. The real prize is a bronze treasure chest tucked up in the high branches of a particularly tall fir I chopped today, totally hidden behind mist and leaves. The kind I would never have spotted if I had not happened to drop that tree. Pure luck the tree I picked was the one with a bronze chest in its hair. I borrow Wang Ixin's spatial backpack one more time, stuff the entire wood haul plus the 3 chests inside, and walk home with a spring in my step. Bringing back a bronze chest and a level-up haul on the same day is the kind of math I came here for. Back at the shelter I check on the tree demon first, 20 centimeters tall. The seedling that was bare soiled this morning is now a small sapling shaking its tender branches in the wind. The 500 milliliters of elite seawater I gave it has been drunk dry. the dirt around it dehydrated like the seed pulled every drop straight through itself. I crouch down and lean in to get a better look. The tree demon senses me and goes stiff. Then a branch comes around and slaps me across the face. I sit with that. It hits me right then. Big Orange likes me because Big Orange was a Mistbreaker reward, a creature with an inbuilt mental tether to me. There is a faint give and take between us, an awareness of what the other is feeling. The tree demon is not like that at all. The tree demon is wild, full stop. To it, I am not a master and not a friend. I am simply an alien of a different species standing too close. This is a bit of a problem. I rub the cheek the tree demon just slapped and mutter to myself that I thought I was raising a treasure and instead I am raising a roadblock at my own doorstep. Brother Killer's well-meaning gift may have been an enemy in a baby's body. I tell myself I will give it a few days, and if it does not come around, I will pull it before it grows into something I cannot handle. I do not catch what happens behind me. The tree demon, mid-victory wave of its little branches, hears the word pull and droops every leaf, every vine, every shoot, all at once, like a kid trying not to be sent to bed. The charcoal pile is right next to the cabin. The mud daub has dried to brown rind in the trapped heat, and a couple of seams have cracked open. Cracks worry me. If too much air slipped in overnight, my charcoal might already be ash. The cure for cracks is to find out. I grab the pickaxe and start breaking the mud shell open. The outer layer comes off in fat slabs, and the work is satisfying the way smashing a tile floor is satisfying. The interior temperature has not quite faded, so the inside is still gently warm. The mud falls away and the dark glossy face of a full charcoal stack reveals itself. I let out a slow breath. The pile held. There is charcoal for tonight after all. I scoop seawater off the boxes, run the pottery blueprint over it, and crank out a wide-mouth earthen jar to store the charcoal in. Once it is all bagged into the spatial backpack, the sky has gone full dark. I walk back into the cabin with a stack of charcoal and a stack of bronze and iron chests waiting. Next up is the unboxing run. I return the spatial backpack to Wang Ixin, throw a handful of fresh charcoal into the gift bundle for him, and sit down to do an inventory. 280 units of elite cedar wood, 800 elite granite from the big financier trade, minus the 50 I spent on the cutting saw, leaves 750 granite on the books. 30 gin of charcoal, since this was a trial batch and I gave the big financier his cut. Enough for 2 or 3 nights, no more. The purified seawater tank is bottom scraping low, so I will have to borrow the spatial backpack again tomorrow for one more salt run. The spring water has bumped up against luck for once and not dried out. 300 milliliters today, 50 to me, 50 to Big Orange, 100 to the big financier, 100 reserved for Brother Killer. Net for me, 50 milliliters of surplus. Plus 3 treasure chests, 2 iron, 1 bronze. I have not pulled a wild chest in days, let alone a bronze. I crack the iron chests first to warm up. 2 clicks at the same time. A set of thermal underwear. I almost cheer out loud. My current wardrobe is 2 hoodies and 1 trench coat, and the trench coat is glued to my back with sweat half the time. Thermal underwear under the trench coat will change my life day or night. The second iron chest pops open and a green light bleeds out, which is elite grade light, which is a small heart attack for me, because elite grade out of an iron chest is a stroke of legitimate luck. I appraise it. Beast luring cage, elite grade, a cage that auto emits a scent to attract beasts, can capture common grade beasts and trap elite grade beasts for a short while before the lock breaks. A roughly 1 meter wide circular cage about 1.5 meters tall, iron looking material. I sniff and smell nothing. Big Orange trots over and starts circling it, nose down. The scent must be on a band only beasts pick up. Honestly, the value is not high right now. The cage can hold a common beast or briefly cage an elite one. With me and Big Orange at our current strength, common beasts are not exactly an obstacle, and barring a wolf or tiger or leopard, the cage does not give me much. I file it under nice to have, a way to passively pull in a meat steak a day, no more. Now the main event. The bronze chest. My water purification beak came out of a bronze chest. The first excellent item I ever pulled. Bronze chests can and do drop excellent grade, just not often. Asking for a second is greedy. I am greedy. I have never once won a buy one get one bottle of iced tea in my life. Click. 2 green lights flash out at once, side by side. So no, not a 1 excellent drop, because excellent comes alone in a bronze chest. 2 greens means 2 elite items, the most likely outcome, the kitchen middle. I sigh and pick up the first. Water spinach seeds, elite grade, a green vegetable with leaves like willows, fast maturing, loves a moist environment. The elite variant resists cold to a degree but cannot hold up at sub-zero temperatures. Water spinach, stir-fried in garlic, sautéed with bacon. I love the stuff. The growing cycle is short, and as long as the conditions stay even, it produces like chives. Batch after batch after batch. Same problem as the happy sweet potato. The mist continent's nighttime cold is going to kill it before it gives anything back. Unless I can find a way to keep a planting space warm. I make a mental note. 2 days. Find a fix or I am buying constant temperature planting boxes off the exchange to grow the water spinach indoors. The boxes are too small for the happy sweet potato, but more than enough for greens. Second item. The moment I glimpse the system note, my whole face changes. I hit the jackpot. Spatial storage pouch, elite grade. A storage pouch with embedded spatial tech, but crude manufacturer caps internal volume at 6 cubic meters. This is the spatial item I have been wanting since the night Wang Ixin showed off his spatial backpack and made me feel like a one-armed mule. 6 cubic meters is not the bracelet's 20, but it covers everything my daily life needs. I will never have to grovel for the big financier's backpack again. Trust between me and Wang Ixin is real now, but favors run in both directions, and you can only ask so many times before a friend's patience for a favor wears down and the relationship drifts. It is the same as borrowing money from a friend. You know he will pay you back, and he does, every time. But if you keep showing up every couple of days with another loan, ask yourself how long you would stay friends. I am about to hum my way into dinner when the communicator buzzes. Huang Jiang, asking whether the trade materials are ready. He must have walked through his cabin door and gone straight for the message bar. Cannot blame him. Materials in hand means his shelter upgrades on the spot, and everything in his stack is elite, except for the iron, so the man has been bouncing off the walls. I open the trade window without dragging it out. 450 pieces of granite plus 100 pieces of elite cedar wood disappear from my side. 170 pieces of iron drop onto my side. The iron blocks are the same rough size as the stones, dark and rough-skinned, heavier than they look. Inventory now reads 180 elite cedar, 300 granite, 170 iron. The level 3 upgrade requires 200 wood, 200 stone, 100 iron. Iron and stone are over the line. I am 20 units short on wood. If I drop in common grade wood, I can shake it loose from the big financier in a heartbeat. Maybe trade him some coconut juice for it. Friends gifting has no cap and saves a trade slot. 20 units of common wood is 1/10 of a material line. Will that drop the upgrade quality? Surely not by much. I sit with that. 30 seconds later, forget it. I have just sunk every elite material I own into this build. I am not skimping on one trade slot now. For the sake of my own OCD, the shelter is going up on full elite materials end to end. Elite materials are rarer than common, but with 8 billion people scrolling the exchange, someone is always listing. I filter the exchange for wood, set the grade slider to elite, and skim a dozen pages. The most common trade pair on the elite board is elite wood for elite stone, running about 1 to 1.5. After that, the next most common deal is elite to common, because most people who manage to chop an elite tree near their shelter trade it down for 10 common units worth of supplies and stretch their needs further. Most survivors are not pushing for level 3. Most are still trying to make daily quota. The elite to common ratio is roughly 1 to 10 right now. I tap a few of the cheaper listings and private message them in turn. Stone is out, because I am short on elite stone of my own, and iron is unequivocally out because I do not yet know where iron will come from sustainably, and I am not bleeding currency on that until I do. Food stock is light, including the common meat plus Big Orange's day's hunt. I have 5 or 6 gin total. 2 gin of elite meat in reserve. 3 giant coconuts. The best currency I still have for trade is purified seawater. The tank is low, but the beat is mine, and the new spatial pouch makes a salt run trivial. For me, elite seawater is basically free, and I will admit I have been washing my face in elite seawater for days. I copy and paste a private message to 5 sellers in a row. How much elite wood do you have total? I can offer a generous trade of elite water for it. Attached purified seawater info. The first reply comes back fast. 2 words. Huapai Village. My heart hops. The memory takes a second to catch up, and then a face slides back into view I had not thought about in over a decade. Gu Wanyo. Huapai Village is the place I grew up. Same elementary school as me, same classroom from primary through middle school until the year we both transferred to town. Country towns being country towns. The village was too small to have anyone we did not know. Gu Wanyo was a year above me in some classes and behind me in others, and we never quite played together because the boys and the girls split by recess for cockfight squats and ping pong on the boys' side, and jump rope and jacks on the girls'. That is why I did not recognize the name straight off when it popped up on the exchange. I messaged back. Jingin Primary School. Wow, I did not expect it to actually be you. I did not expect to run into you either. It has been over 10 years, hasn't it? We were never close. Inside I am giddy anyway. I have finally run into someone I know. 5 days on the Mist Continent, and the dreams have started to take a turn where I am the only person on this planet who was pulled from Blue Star. The only one who has not seen a single acquaintance. The only one who has not heard a word from my own parents. Gu Wanyo on the exchange is a shot in the arm for me, and the loneliness behind my eyes uncoils a notch. On her end, the picture forms. A girl with shoulder-length hair, fair-skinned, the sort of clean-featured face that gets called good girl by everyone in school. Gu Wanye is sitting on her recliner in a fluffy pink set of pajamas, gnawing on an unidentified wild fruit, typing back at me with the kind of excitement people only manage when they have been alone too long. She tells me I am the first acquaintance she has run into here. She had spotted a name she knew once before, messaged the person, and learned it was a stranger with the same name. Running into a real one, and a fellow villager at that, is a small miracle. We chat for a while. Her development sounds like most people's. Level 2 shelter, 1 facility built. She has not even cleared the prerequisites for level 3. If not for the elite wood near her shelter, she would have starved by now. She did pull a set of cashmere pajamas and a thick quilt from a chest, which has kept her alive at night. The night temperatures are vicious. Even with the fireplace lit, a thin quilt and ordinary warm gear get you a cold, or a fever and a wasted day of resource gathering. The worst case is freeze. Even I have not slept right in 2 nights. After we trade small talk, we get to it. How many pieces of elite wood do you have? I ask. I can trade elite water for them. She has 100 pieces of elite wood right now. There is a big patch of elite grade trees near her shelter, and if I want more, she can chop more tomorrow. No need, 100 is enough. Do you have any food? She asks. There are wild fruits near her shelter that handle hydration, but she has not had a real grain or a proper meat in too long. I think a moment. How about this? 2 gin of beast meat plus some purified seawater for 50 pieces of wood. Deal. Honestly, that price could have swept the whole 100 off her. Trading for half her stock leaves her wood to trade onward with someone else, and she catches what I am doing. Wow, thank you so much, she sends back, plus a little crying face. The childhood good girl voice is still there, but the loneliness has loosened her up, and there is a small laugh in the message that I do not remember from school. In my memory, she was the studious one, quiet, polite, social camouflage at maximum. Her and me passing each other at school was the kind of mutual nod where you both pretended not to see each other to avoid the awkward greeting. On the Mist continent, she has gone from that to actual jokes. Maybe being 1,200 kilometers from anyone you love opens a person up. Maybe I never knew her well enough to know what she was really like. The trade goes through. My wood pile sits at 230 pieces of elite cedar, 300 granite, 170 iron. I pull up the shelter page on the communicator. Level 2 shelter, cabin, 14 plus 12 square meters. A common grade build that works as a temporary stop but takes damage in bad weather. Not for long-term living. Facilities, living room, 8 square meters. Bathroom, 4 square meters. Upgrade materials, 200 wood, 200 stone, 100 iron. Current materials, 230 wood, 300 stone, 170 iron. Upgrade, yes. White light bleeds out from every joint of the cabin walls. The second time my home has done this. Each upgrade is one more notch of survival probability. After 3 seconds, the light dies and a different building stands where the cabin was. The footprint has grown, 32 square meters in total, larger than the partitioned room I rented on Blue Star. The front door is a double door now, no longer a single sheet of plank, the wood wrapped in a thick layer of dark iron that gives it serious weight. 2 more windows have appeared on the front wall flanking the door, joining the original window on the right wall for 3 windows total. Real lighting, real airflow. The 4 corners of the building are now thick square stone pillars. The walls are no longer single layer plank but double layer plank. The roof is a layer of clay tile laid over the original sloped wood, weatherproofed and insulated. Level 3 shelter, forest cottage. 20 plus 12 square meters, half stone, half wood reinforced with steel. Owing to the heavy use of elite materials, the defense and insulation are even better. Facilities, living room, bathroom, both still here. Constructible facilities ahead. Kitchen, 50 wood, 50 stone, 20 iron, 6 square meters. Comes with a simple stove and an iron pot. Bedroom, 80 wood, 80 stone, 30 iron, 10 square meters. Comes with a single bed. Wall 200 stone builds a defensive perimeter around the shelter. Beast taming shed, 100 wood, 100 stone, 50 iron, 20 square meters, builds a taming shed adjacent to the shelter. Any beast caged inside is gradually tamed, time depending on size and grade, up to elite. Planting shed, 100 wood, 100 stone, 50 iron, 20 square meters, speeds the growth of all plants inside by 10%. Internal temperature matches the average internal temperature of the shelter. A level 3 shelter can choose 3 of these to build. Once the right prereqs are met, it can upgrade to level 4, requiring 1,000 wood, 3,000 stone, 1,000 iron, and 100 mist beads. Current materials, 30 wood, 100 stone, 70 iron, 1 mist bead. Planting shed, average internal temperature. The 2 phrases burn into my eyes. I was just worrying about how to keep crops alive on a continent that wants to freeze them, and the level 3 shelter walks up and hands me the answer in 2 lines. The 20 square meters of the planting shed is a bit small, but it more than covers the happy sweet potato, and the elite water spinach takes almost no space at all, mostly needing water and temperature to thrive. Water is already mine. Temperature in the upgraded shelter should hold at 7 or 8 degrees Celsius with the fireplace going, and even if the climate keeps falling, I should be able to keep it near 0 or above. Mist continent plants come with their own resistance to extreme weather, and that is enough to grow most of what I would want. The communicator buzzes, late but on script. Congratulations on the level 3 upgrade. A shelter built with elite materials greatly increases its long-term potential. Level 3 brings new functions. The fog-free zone expands from 150 meters to 200. The thin mist zone expands from 2,000 meters to 3,000. 2 new friend slots added. Friends can do 1 extra trade per day and gift items without limit. A reminder that survival alone is hard, that unity is strength, but that human nature has its dark corners, so choose friends carefully. 2 new friend slots. There it is. Now I wait for Brother Killer to upgrade his shelter and pop into my friend list. If anyone on the Mist Continent has the deepest tether to me, it is Heo Ajun. Once we both unlock gifting between friends, a long list of resources becomes shareable. The view expansion lets me reach a stand of yellow rosewood I had spotted earlier to the left. An elite cluster I can finally drop. Wood at elite grade is no longer scarce for me. Time to think about facilities. Kitchen, bedroom, wall, beast taming shed, planting shed. Pick 3 of 5. The planting shed is non-negotiable, locks in food security long-term, and solves the temperature problem all at once. Cut the bedroom next. I already have a bed. The shelter footprint is already big enough that adding more space would only thin out the heat. Back on Blue Star, the apartment I rented for years did not even have a partitioned bedroom. It was a 3-in-1 living bedroom kitchen, and I survived. Cut the kitchen too. The level 2 version was attractive, because it came with a stove and iron pot, but I have the earthenware crafting blueprint now. I can throw a small stove together myself, and the earthen pot I make works as a saucepan. Worst case, the exchange lists iron pots for nothing. That leaves the wall and the beast taming shed. A level 3 shelter's facilities are all useful, but the bigger jump is that I can now build outside the cabin walls. The system is signaling I am ready to push my territory past the front door. For now it is preliminary. Every facility has to anchor to the shelter. But it is the first hint that with future upgrades, my range of safe outdoor activity will keep widening until night stops being a forbidden country. The wall is obvious, carves my territory out, doubles my defense, locks in a holdout terrain that is easy to defend and miserable to attack. The beast taming shed is the one that makes me dither. Domesticating wild beasts could pay back harder than the planting shed in the long run. Right now my hunt loop runs on the repeating crossbow and Big Orange's teeth. A repeating crossbow bolt either kills or maims. Big Orange is worse, a confirmed glutton. Anything dead in its paws loses half its weight on the way back to me. The only reason Big Orange brings anything home at all is that it likes roasted meat now. Otherwise the whole haul would be inside its stomach. Animals close to humans were all bred up from wild stock. Wild boars became domestic pigs. Wild oxen became dairy cattle. Hunting dogs traced their lineage straight to wolves. With a beast taming shed, I could in theory be walking around with a wolf pack like Brother Killers by now. The math problem is live capture. Hunt to kill and trap alive are 2 different sports. If hunt to kill is 5 stars, trap alive is the entire sky. You need power that obliterates the prey without harming it. And once you have that kind of power, taming for hunting help becomes redundant. Unless you use traps or trickery, I sit up. I did just get a trap. Beast luring cage, elite grade. The cage I dismissed as nice to have because common beasts are no longer a real threat. With the beast taming shed plugged in beside it, the math changes. Catch a common beast, tame the common beast. Trap an elite for the brief window the cage holds. Tame the elite. Wild rabbits, wild chickens, both excellent picks. Rabbits multiply geometrically off a single litter, which means meat forever. Wild chickens are the same. Reproduce fast, easy to keep, and they give eggs. I am mid-thought when the communicator buzzes. Brother Killer. He asks me whether I have any iron. 20 pieces will do. What does Brother Killer want with 20 iron all of a sudden? Has he hit the level 3 threshold too? I message back. Sure, I have iron. Are you upgrading to level 3? His reply comes fast. Not quite yet. He is just 20 pieces of iron short. Look at this little iron shark. Where did he quietly stockpile this much iron? He laughs in text and tells me a bronze chest dropped a bunch of common items today. He was sulking about the haul. Did not expect there were 80 pieces of iron buried in the chest. Situation turned around inside 1 second. Who said there were no good things in common items? Iron blocks have become rare currency now. The world chat is full of people shouting to buy iron. Survivors developing well are fine on wood and stone, but iron is everywhere short, because wood and stone are above the ground and iron is buried. Most people walk past iron ore without ever knowing. As more survivors push up to level 2 and 3, their view expands, and more iron will surface. But right now, iron is gold. I tell Brother Killer he must have stepped in dog manure to pull luck like this, and if I had not just upgraded to level 3 myself, I would be eating my own envy. Brother Killer fires back instantly. Chongrang, you hit level 3. You are the one making a fortune in silence. Quick, tell me what is new at level 3. I tell him plenty is new. I will send the iron first and let him discover the rest himself once he upgrades. Then I think about it. Brother Killer's hunt count is in the high digits by now. He has been opening beast drop chests until his hands are sore, and the odds say he has at least 1 beast luring cage in his pile. Beast drop chests skew narrow. Weapons, tools, clothing, no farming gear. A cage is right in his band. I message him. Brother Killer, do you have any of those cages? Level 3 shelter unlocks animal husbandry. I am thinking of catching some beasts to raise. He does not disappoint. A level 3 shelter can actually raise beasts. That is great news. I feel like I am about to take off. I have plenty of those beast luring cages. Drop rate is decent. Capture rate is about 30%. I will gift you a few. We open a trade. I gift him 20 iron blocks and 50 milliliters of sweet spring water. He gifts back 5 gin of elite meat steaks and 4 beast luring cages. I look at the steaks and the cages and try not to do the math out loud on how many beasts he must have already cleaned out of the area around his shelter. Probably the local fauna is staring at the empty horizon by now. With 4 new cages plus my own one, I have 5 total, and that should be enough to start a small farm. That leaves the planting shed as the lock-in build. Iron and stone are just at the line, and I need to chop wood tomorrow. Before I sleep, I want to see if I can buy any fertilizer. On the Mist Continent, fertilizer is dual use, lifts the survival rate of plants and accelerates their growth, and I am not going into a planting build without it. The world chat is rolling at its usual speed when I open it. Someone offering high prices for iron ore. 100 or 200 is not too many. 3 or 5 is not too few. Someone else lamenting that the big shots have already started hoarding iron while they have not even gathered the materials for their second facility. A third saying the same, but at least they built the living room first, so the fireplace is going. A fourth bragging about being on a snowy mountain, having to stay by the fire all day, daring nobody to be more miserable than them. Then a faction recruiting voice opens up. Want iron resources to upgrade your shelter. Want thick fleece blankets. Join our Survivors Alliance. Open to everyone, no caps. 3 replies of sign me up. Then a slow voice asking, if I join, will I not have to worry about food and drink? The recruiter says of course not. The slow voice asks then why he asked. The recruiter says, if you join us, we can all want them together. There is strength in numbers. The slow voice unloads a string of curse symbols. I scroll past the noise and post my fertilizer notice. Buying plant fertilizer, the more the better. Willing to trade food or water for it. The private messages light up like a slot machine spill. One guy says he has no fertilizer, but can he trade stone for food? Another asks what kind of fertilizer I need. His is all natural and daily output. A third offers her pretty voice for an online thing if I gift her a meat steak. I rub my temples. Food and water still rule the value chart at this stage. Everyone alive a week in has at least minimal reserves, but most are not eating full meals. And the demand is loud. The price will drop once people stabilize, so I want to spend the high water hours now to convert into long burn items. A description catches my eye in the message pile. Fish pond water, common grade, contains trace fish food residue, nitrates, nitrites, other natural organic substances, can provide the nutrients plants need to grow. Low concentration so it will not burn roots. Suitable as a natural organic fertilizer. The note says it can speed common grade plant growth by 10% and elite grade plants by 5%. This is exactly what I want, and the seller wants fresh water. I jump on it, interested. Name the ratio. The seller, Jang Hyeri, replies. 1-to-1 for fresh water. The ratio is fair, but I do not have plain fresh water, only elite grade purified seawater. I attach the info. She goes quiet for a beat, then asks what ratio I would propose. I can give a good price, 1-to-2. Jang Hyeri replies that for an elite grade item the price is fair, but at this moment she only needs plain drinking water. Her position is clear. Purified seawater is great and she will pick some up. But for the bulk trade, she wants ordinary drinking water. I sigh quietly at the screen. This is the limitation of purified seawater. The function is great, but daily consumption is too low. People drink it to recover from injury or as a long-term tonic, not in tea kettle volumes. I ask her, is the source of fish pond near your shelter? Less than 100 meters, she replies. Stable supply. If I want fish, she will sell them too. 1-to-1 for meat. So this is another well-set survivor. She grabbed a geographic advantage on day 1, food and water both. Now her quality of life has risen, and she does not want to drink fish pond water anymore. She would rather convert it into clean drinking water. The kind of survivor with clear plans and clear goals, which means hard negotiation. I send her another line. How about this? We trade water at 1-to-1. My purified seawater can be used directly as drinking water, and you can resell it to others. She is tempted. I can feel it through the typing pause. She is also no fool, so she replies asking what the conditions are. Talking to smart people is easy, I tell her. The conditions are simple. I want 20 liters of fish pond water, and you include 5 fish in the trade, no smaller than 3 gin each. Jang Hyeri replies that they are bigger than that. She can give 2 fish, both over 10 gin. I feel my face heat. Embarrassing. Mist continent fish are larger than ordinary fish, of course they are. And here I am asking for 3 gin minnows. Deal, I tell her. Trade tomorrow. Alright. Neither of us has the stock ready, so we set the trade for daylight tomorrow. Honestly, I do not care that much about the function of fish pond water. It is a common grade fertilizer with minimal effect on elite water spinach seeds, and 0 effect on the happy sweet potato, which is excellent. But I am the one with the water purification bead. Run fish pond water through the bead, and there is a good chance it bumps up to elite grade, and that is suddenly an extremely useful fertilizer. There is a risk the bead might strip everything out and turn it into pure water. The probability is low. From what I have seen, the bead enhances the function of the source, rather than blanking it. Seawater that could not be drunk became drinkable. Sweet spring water that conditioned the body became excellent water that improved physical fitness. Fish pond water that fertilizes plants should logically come out as a stronger fertilizer. These are guesses. If I am wrong, I am wrong. Purified seawater is not exactly precious to me. Even if the bead has no effect on the fish pond water, I can still use it on the water spinach. Worst case, I am no worse off. Tomorrow's trade is locked. The remaining trade slot for tonight I should not waste. I jump to the chat channel to scout. The moment I open it, an item description catches my eye and I cannot look away. It is elite grade. If used well, it is a lifesaver. Shelter relocation token, elite grade. Description allows for the relocation of the shelter to a designated location within a 5-kilometer radius of the current shelter. The token sets the chat on fire. The conversation is louder than for an excellent item. Holy crap, where did this come from? Begging for info. I suspected shelters could be moved later. Did not expect the item to land this fast. Big shot. How do we trade for this? Wood, stone, name it. You are probably blowing a trumpet on an airplane. What does that mean? Pure fantasy sounds in the air. Do not even think of trading common materials for an item like this. Iron would be more like it. The owner finally speaks up. Only trading for excellent items or very high-value elite grade items. Half the chat gives up at that and the curses fly. What a joke. Elite item for an excellent one. When did excellent become so cheap? I have not even seen the shadow of an excellent item yet. The survivor who tried to offer wood and stone earlier chimes in. I think you are blowing a trumpet on a spaceship. Trumpet brother is a quick learner, says someone else. Already applying the new vocabulary. I sit with the item description. Should I go for the token? And if I do, what would I trade? Current excellent items I own are limited. Big Orange and the Tree Demon do not count. They are not for trade. That leaves 3. The Water Purification Bead, the Happy Sweet Potato, the Fog Piercing Goggles. The Water Purification Bead is my foundation. The Happy Sweet Potato is my future. Both are non-negotiable. The Fog Piercing Goggles are where I dither. They do nothing for me right now. The Mistbreaker Totem is already collected. I have no more business in the Thick Fog Zone. And even if I did, the Thick Fog Zone is a no-go on its own merits. I could trade the goggles away like Huang Jidong did. I shake my head. A premonition tells me the goggles are going to matter more later. The chat is right. A relocation token is not worth an excellent item. The price is just rarity inflation, the same trick as iron blocks earlier this week. As time passes, more tokens will surface. It is only an elite item. Its drop rate cannot be lower than excellent. There have been millions of excellent items pulled by now across humanity. Trading for a relocation token at this price is a bad deal, except in an emergency, or unless your trade currency is excellent stock with low practical value, or renewable. I slap my forehead. Wait, I do have a renewable excellent stock. The Happy Sweet Potato. I click on the seller's avatar and open a private message. Fixed price. 1 piece of Happy Sweet Potato, usable for seedling cultivation and planting. Info attached. The sweet potato is renewable. I have not even planted and harvested yet. But a fundamental trait of sweet potatoes is that you cut them into pieces and each piece is a seed. A sweet potato over a meter long can be cut into a dozen pieces conservatively, each one a viable seed. I can build the planting shed tomorrow, so tonight I can start cutting the sweet potato for seedling stock. The other party will either be on the verge of starvation and selling under duress, or they are developing well and bleeding off rare items for profit, with more tokens in reserve. Their behavior rules out duress. A starving survivor would not refuse food trades. This one is asking only for high-tier items, which means they are doing well and probably sitting on more tokens than just this one. In all likelihood, they are at level 3 at least, probably with a planting shed already. Otherwise, they would not be shaking off iron offers. 2 words come back. Deal. Of course, nobody refuses a renewable excellent staple food. This is win-win. For them, 1 elite item for renewable excellent seeds. For me, the shelter relocation token and almost 0 net loss. The other party lists the token on the exchange. I take out the Happy Sweet Potato and grin. I have been waiting to put you to use. I draw the cleaving saw across the sweet potato at the 2/3 mark. The flesh is crisp. A quarter way through the cut, the rest snaps with a clean pop and falls open. The cross sections are a ruby color, the flesh inside pure and crystal clear. Even uncooked, the smell is rich and fresh, and I swallow without thinking. This is going to taste good. I set the smaller third aside to eat, then cut the larger 2/3 into 13 pieces. 1 for the trade, 12 for my own planting. Trade goes through. The token drops into my hand. A small black metal disc with a circle of green lines around the edge, matching the elite grade color band, an old block-shaped character carved into the center of the face. I do not recognize the script, but I understand the meaning the way World Chat lets every survivor read every script. The character means relocate. I tuck the token away. This little disc may save my life. Now the sweet potato pieces. They cannot be planted as seeds yet, they need to sprout first. I scoop a handful of plant ash out of the fireplace and coat the cut faces evenly. The ash disinfects, helps the cut surfaces seal, and accelerates sprouting. Then I take the thatch I use for kindling, soak it in the water vat, and lay it over the coated sweet potato pieces. Done. Once I cut elite wood tomorrow and build the planting shed, the Happy Sweet Potato officially goes in the ground. That closes today's trades. Dinner. I look at the third I kept for tonight, and my eyes shine. I have endured you for a long time. The roasted sweet potato. Mist continent ingredients carry magical effects, especially anything elite grade and above, which lifts physical fitness in a way nothing on Blue Star ever did. For a weak survivor, eating elite food is a shortcut to becoming stronger. I've already eaten plenty of elite meat steaks. Every time the body fills with a violent surge of energy that has to be exercised down. At first I could only handle 100 grams of elite meat in a sitting. After a few times I am up to 150. Brother Killer and I have compared notes. The more you eat, the faster you improve, and the ceiling depends on current body strength. He started at 120 grams of elite meat per sitting. A vague math. My current physical fitness already exceeds Brother Killer's starting state. He was a world-class assassin, and I was a corporate ox in sub-health for years. The gap was supposed to be a lifetime. A few elite meat dinners erased it. I slide the happy sweet potato into the fireplace and sit back to wait. If elite meat does this much, what does an excellent sweet potato do? I never liked sweet potatoes back home. Too sweet, cloying, sticky in the throat. But I have been on the mist continent for days without a proper carb. The Korean appetite for staple grain is bone deep, and sitting in front of a roasting sweet potato my mouth is already watering. The roast takes more than an hour. Big Orange has meowed at me 3 times asking for food, and I cave and pan fry an elite meat steak to avoid an energy surplus that would block me from eating the sweet potato. I give the entire steak to Big Orange and eat none. Then a burst of fragrance erupts from the fireplace, strong but not cloying, fresh, with a faint fruit note. I have never smelled a roasted sweet potato like this in my life. I yank the sweet potato out. Because of the size, even the roasted third is too big for my pottery plate. Whatever. I set it on the table, blow on the skin to cool it, and dig a spoonful out the moment my mouth can take the heat. My carb-starved body sings. The flesh dissolves on my tongue, sweet, melting, the fragrance hitting the back of my nose all at once. I am almost crying with happiness. I spoon mouthful after mouthful of the crystal-clear sweet potato into my face. 5 or 6 spoonfuls in, my body reaches energy saturation, and I realize something is off. By the meat steak math, excellent food should pack more energy per gram, and I should be saturating at 70 or 80 grams. I have hit 150. The energy in me grows violent, and I do not have time to think. I stand and start squat jumping on the spot. Cold night or not, sweat starts dropping off me in beads. 30 minutes, 40, 50, the high-intensity exercise continues. I feel my way through the changes. With an elite meat steak, I can digest the energy in about 20 minutes of exercise. The excellent sweet potato is still surplus after 50. The same quantity of energy, but the happy sweet potato is purer. If the meat steak is milk, the sweet potato is yogurt. Same gram count, but the texture of the energy is different, which is why the workout has to be longer. Another 10 minutes and the energy finally absorbs. I wipe down with a wet cloth I keep as a towel, and look at myself, and my muscle definition has stepped up another rung. I am handsome. Excellent food does not disappoint. For the same gram count, the effect is 3 times that of elite, which means my power curve also triples. The physical jump is obvious. Even my mind feels clearer, thinking faster. Old vague memories sharpening. I do not know it, but if the appraisal feature worked on survivors, my entry right now would read Lee Chung-rang, elite grade. If only Big Orange ate sweet potatoes, I would feed it into a Tiger King. I break off a small chunk of the remaining sweet potato and gift it to Brother Killer, along with a heads up about the excellent food effect. After my 20 iron blocks went over earlier, Brother Killer cleared the level 3 threshold, and we added each other as friends. Gifting unlocked. Brother Killer is the person I am closest to here. The sweet potato will keep for days in the cold, but it is large. The remainder more than enough for me for 3 or 4 days, and I generously send the smaller half over. He replies fast, Chung-rang, thank you so much. I do not even know how to repay this. Haha, it is fine. Just give me a discount when I hire you for an assassination later. Brother Killer sends a bitter smile. We are worlds apart now. What assassinations? The Mist Continent is a strange place, I tell him. Maybe one day we meet. If we meet in the future, he says, I will slaughter every beast around your shelter for you personally. You said it, I write. There seems to be an excellent beast near me, although I am still not sure it is a beast. I think of the giant palm print on the right side of the shelter. That is why I have not pushed that side. Brother Killer frowns through text. No joke. How did you find it? I tell him the whole sequence. He confirms my read did not push that area lightly, and adds that finding a way to scout would be ideal because a single palm print is 1 data point. We chat for a while longer. Then I pick up the repeating crossbow and run drills until I am tired enough to sleep. The level 3 shelter is warmer than I had hoped. With charcoal in the fireplace, I only wake up once tonight to add a new piece. The rest of the night is the first real rest I have had since arriving on the Mist Continent. The night passes without incident. Daybreak. The weather check. Sunny, -10 to -3 Celsius. Sunrise 10 in the morning, daylight 5 hours. Climate note. The temperature is stabilizing, but do not mistake this for good news. It is the calm before the storm. Still sunny. I planned the 5 hours. The shelter's view has expanded, but I will not push out to the boundary today. The thin mist zone is now 3 kilometers across, and I might run into fiercer beasts at the edges. And daylight is short with a lot to do. I head outside to check the tree demon first. The cold night did not seem to hit it. I hesitate, then pour out some purified seawater for it. This time the tree demon does not react when I come close. Just sits in its dirt like an ordinary potted plant. Strange. Do tree demons sleep? Has it not woken up yet? I rub my head, give up wondering, and leave it. As a common grade thing, it is no threat to me. If it pushes to elite and still refuses to listen, I will deal with it then. Outside the wind howls, but the daytime temperature is the same as yesterday, and with my new thermal underwear under the coat, I do not feel the worst of it. The goal is the patch of elite grade huangwali wood I saw last time when I was after the Mistbreaker totem. Could not cut it then because it was inside the thick fog zone. The level 3 view expansion has pulled it into reach. I call Big Orange. The two of us push along the route I remember. Approaching the spot, the memory of those echoed extra footsteps from the thick fog rises back up. Even with my own strength up and Big Orange beside me, the unease stays. Humans have curiosity about the unknown, but more often we have fear. On the other hand, the thing that lured to a glowing Barbie doll cannot be the strongest entity here, and I can probably handle it. Front of the shelter is sea, behind is wild fruits and peanuts. Right is palm prints and barrenness. Left is rich, alive, full of game and birdsong, wild chicken and wild rabbits, insect calls in the cold air. The Huanghuali patch is in the left side. I reach the Huanghuali forest. Before I start felling, I scout the area in a circle, dropping the beast-luring cage as I go. Big Orange I order to stay close. I push forward cautiously, looking for both threats and other resources, because a green pocket like this should hold more than just Huanghuali. The frozen dew on the grass underfoot crackles with every step. The Huanghuali forest is broader than the fur patch, every tree elite grade, and walking it carefully takes me 10 minutes to come out the other side. Past the forest, I find a low jungle of plants barely over a meter, their leaves familiar in a way I cannot place. I run the appraisal. Big red robe tea trees, elite grade. A high-quality big red robe tea variety can be brewed into tea. Drinking it has a refreshing and brain-stimulating effect. Tea trees. No wonder they looked familiar. My hometown of Huapai Village is in tea country. My family did not grow tea, but tea was all over the mountain in season. And you do not eat pork, but you do see the pig. That is why my eyes caught a perfectly ordinary jungle. What surprises me is the grade. Elite tea trees should brew elite tea. So if I run the tea through the water purification bead, does it bump to excellent? Probably. The thought lights a fuse in my chest. I want to be back at the shelter brewing tea right now. I shove the impulse down, tell Big Orange to stay alert, and load tea leaves into the spatial pouch as fast as my hands move. The resources here are dense. While I pick, I see squirrels in the branches. Then the roar. A hoarse, scraping roar tears through the air. Big Orange's fur bristles top to tail. Its back arches. Its throat rolls a low tiger growl, eyes locked in the direction the sound came from. I crouch on instinct, repeating crossbow out of the pouch in one move. After 10 seconds, I put it back. The sound was not nearby. It was distant, very distant, and the crossbow was reflex. I stare blank in the direction the roar came from. That direction. Could it be that thing? The palm print on the fallen tree trunk rises in my mind. We are on the left side of the shelter and the roar came from the right. At least 6 kilometers off, possibly more. I do the rough math twice. 6 kilometers minimum. What kind of creature carries a roar that distance? The suffocation lands and stays. Even the joy of finding elite tea evaporates. I touch the relocation token in my coat and mutter, should I move the shelter? The current thin mist zone is only 3 kilometers. The token reaches 5. If the move is for safety, the further the better, which means re-entering the thick fog zone to scout a suitable relocation point. Who cares? If I die, I die. If not, I have to live well in the meantime. I steady Big Orange. I have enough tea leaves now, so I head back to the Huanghuali to cut wood. No matter what, the planting shed materials have to land today. The planting shed is the foundation of my future survival. Even saying this, I have already decided the move is coming and that I have to acquire a self-protection item tonight from the chat channel at any price. Huanghuali is thick wood and elite grade trees are tougher, but each tree drops 50 or 60 units. My body is not what it used to be. 2 hours of work covers the wood I need for the planting shed. The roar has soured me on further exploration here. I bundle the wood and head back. On the way through the wild chicken and wild rabbit area, I drop the beast-luring cages, 3 among the chickens. I am putting big hopes on these cages. I hope to hit food security as fast as possible. Clothing, food, shelter, transport, the 4 legs of survival. Clothing and warmth still need work but are passable for now. Shelter and transport are linked in the fog world. The higher the shelter, the wider the view. The more places I can go. On those 2, I am at the leading edge of all survivors. Last is food, split into water and dry rations. Water I have. Dry rations have been my weak spot from day one, and my current elite grade food has been almost entirely Brother Killer's care packages. Even common food I am short on. This is why the planting shed and beast taming shed matter so much. Back at the shelter, I dump the tea leaves in the huanghuali, pull more soil out for the earthenware blueprint. The last charcoal batch went well, so I will mass produce. First, I need a large vat to store the charcoal in. Otherwise, stacking it next to the fireplace bare gets dust everywhere and the stray spark eventually finds it. Second, I need a container for the 20 liters of fish pond water I agreed to take from Jang Hyeri, plus a few 20 to 30 liter jars for future trades. I dig enough soil, scoop it into the pouch, and head straight to the sea. Pottery wants water plus soil, and I want salt water anyway. I take out the blueprint. Soft light the soil and seawater mix and harden by themselves. A wide-mouthed charcoal vat and 5 20-liter containers come off the line. A little soil left. I make a small stove with an open top to hold heating cookware like clay pots. Last bit of soil, I add a teapot, 6 teacups, and a gaiwan specifically for brewing tea, because nothing in me goes to waste. I look at the tea set and laugh. Big red robe, oh big red robe, I have done right by you. Do not disappoint. Elite grade tea has a refreshing and brain-stimulating effect. With the water purification bead, it should bump to excellent. The bead lifted my sweet spring water to a degree that changed my life, and the tea soup should follow suit. By the time the pottery is done, it is dark. Pushing further would be dangerous. To make the day pay back, I set up another charcoal pile, and originally I wanted common wood from the big financier, but Wang Ixin is busy with something and has not replied in hours. Too late to chop more. Gritting my teeth, I use elite grade huanghuali for the charcoal. As the pile ignites, the sky goes fully dark and I retreat to the shelter. Today went mostly to plan. Materials in hand. Time to build the planting shed. Planting shed, 100 wood, 100 stone, 50 iron, 20 square meters. Owned, 110 wood, 100 stone, 70 iron. Construct in a designated area adjacent to the shelter accelerates plant growth by 10% at all grades. Internal temperature matches the shelter's internal average. Confirm construction, yes. A square architectural phantom appears outside the shelter wall. I cannot see it directly from inside the cabin, but I can feel its location. With the experience from the bathroom build, I steer it with thought. The planting shed has to butt up against the shelter. In front would block the door. Out. Behind would be the deepest from the door. Fine but inconvenient at night. Left or right are the safe picks. There is a window on the left wall. The shelter has 3 windows, but I would rather not lose any. So right side, I think. Then a flash of inspiration. The phantom snaps onto the left window. Not only that, originally the phantom's door faces the same way as the shelter's front door, but I force it to rotate. Confirm. Planting shed location. Confirm. Light, 3 seconds. The phantom turns into a solid building. The planting shed is a square, slightly smaller and shorter than the shelter, but its materials match closely and it merges with the shelter seamlessly. The planting shed's external door is invisible on its 3 exposed walls because I deliberately oriented it toward the shelter's left window. The shelter's left window is now the door of the planting shed. To enter the planting shed, I climb out the window. Also, the pile of elite leaf mold soil I dug yesterday and stacked by the left window is now enclosed inside the planting shed. I nod. Building the shed in this position was a stroke of genius. I run to the sweet potato pieces, lift the thatch covering, and check progress. To my surprise, all 12 sweet potato chunks have sprouted overnight. Time to plant. I load the pieces into my arms and climb to the window. Just digging holes and dropping the chunks in would not do them justice. I think back to the country vegetable plots from my childhood and lay out 3 neat rows in the standard furrow and bed shape, the elite leaf mold soil heaped row by row. 20 square meters is not much. 3 rows comes out about right. 2 rows for the happy sweet potato. 1 row for the elite water spinach. Although the water spinach does not need that much room, so half a row is left empty. Now watering and fertilizing. Jang Hyeri pings me at exactly the right time. Ready? Can we trade? I laugh. Looks like I am having grilled fish for dinner. Yes, I already listed the seawater on the exchange. Search for purified seawater. Okay, the purified seawater goes through. 20 liters of fish pond water and 2 large fish come back. I do not know fish by species and could not have named these 2, but they are easily over 12 jin each. Big Orange, who is lying on the bed in lazy mode, twitches its nose and pounces. I yank the fish into my space pouch before its paws hit the table. Big Orange misses the catch and turns to me with a frown. I tell it not to be in a hurry. Wait until I am done and we will eat together. It growls. I tell it the big glutton has to wait its turn. It growls more. I roll up my sleeves and pull out the trump card. Fine then, eat raw from now on. I am never grilling for you again. Big Orange instantly lowers its head and goes quiet. I tell it to go lie down over there. Little guy. Think I cannot handle you. Small victory. I hum a tune and take out the water purification bead. Now let us see how the fish pond water moves after purification. I appraise the unpurified fish pond water first. Common grade. Contains trace fish food residue, nitrates, nitrites, organic substances, supplies plant nutrients, low concentration so it will not burn roots, suitable as a natural organic fertilizer. Speeds common grade plants by 10%. Decent stats, but the grade is too low for the happy sweet potato. I pour a small cup, drop the bead in. A moment later, the info changes. Fish pond water, elite grade, purified fish pond water, retains nitrates and nitrites and other organic substances more pure, suitable as a natural organic fertilizer. Speeds common grade plants by 20%, elite grade by 10%, excellent grade by 5%. Haha, it worked. The bead does not disappoint. Fertilizer problem solved. The only thing left weighing on me is the unknown creature to the left. The roar from this afternoon rises again and crushes the mood. I count myself among the better developed survivors. I have not been short on elite food, and with the sweet spring water stacking, I have eaten excellent and big oranges at my side. Even so, against true danger it is not enough. Two choices in front of me. Relocate the shelter, which would mean re-entering the thick fog zone, not for 100 or 200 meters, the way I did for the Mistbreaker totem, but for actual distance, which would burn through spring water and put me in range of unknown creatures, and even with the search I might not find a relocation point, or buy an item strong enough for self-defense. Simple to say, hard to define. Brother Killer's Flame Burst Great Saber is excellent, but only works at maximum in his hands. Weapon items are not for the self-defense need of someone like me with no martial foundation. So weapons are out. What about defensive or utility? The strongest utility item I have heard of is Huang Jideong's Tiangang Big Dipper formation, with defense and counterattack folded in, but the offensive output is limited. If that thing comes for me, an excellent item like that holds for how long? An hour. Half an hour. Just a slower waiting room for death inside my shelter. I sigh. Neither option clean. Big Orange's lazy nap snaps off. Its golden eyes lock on the left wall and it paces the floor. Restless. My heart catches. Then the ground shakes. The mountains shake with it. The shelter vibrates through every joint. From the corners I hear the creak of wood under stress. The hoarse, angry roar from this afternoon comes back louder, closer. 10 minutes before the shake reaches me, 5 kilometers off in the thick fog zone, none of which I see, a creature 6 meters tall is reclining on a stone bed in a cave that stinks of blood. Bones from every animal you can name are scattered across the floor, some dry, some still wet with meat. No furniture except the bed. Blue-faced, fanged, ugly, with a collapsed nose and bellowy breathing. Each forelimb thicker than its hind limb. The whole body covered in black hair except a silver-gray back. At a glance it could pass for a silverback gorilla, but it is something else entirely. If I had my appraisal on it, I would read Shadowback Giant Ape. Excellent grade, native to the Mist Continent, well-developed limbs. Clever omnivore. The Shadowback Giant Ape has just finished its dinner, an excellent grade 2-headed leopard. A quarter of this island is the ape's territory, and the leopard had a bad habit of poaching it every few days. The ape outclassed the leopard in raw strength, but the leopard was fast and alert, slipping away every time. The grudge had grown personal, life and death, and not only because the leopard kept trespassing, the ape had a premonition, eating the leopard would let it break through to the next grade. Today the ape used a blood deer the leopard adored as bait. The trap closed. Joy at the kill made it roar at the sky. The leopard was big and it dragged the corpse back to the cave to enjoy slowly. The flesh delivered what the premonition promised. The leopard's energy was massive. The ape's strength stalled for years, started moving like a river finally cresting its dam. As the last bite went down, an invisible cap in the ape's body snapped. Its aura climbed to the limit of excellent. The climb did not stop. Eyes glowing, muscles swelling further. It was about to break through. At that exact moment, its senses caught the mist inside the cave thinning. 2 clusters of green flame had appeared at the cave mouth. The flames had no heat, but a hostile aura the ape could feel. The mist in the cave and the surrounding fog began to draw toward the flames, the thick mist condensing into solid form. In under 10 seconds, 2 humanoid figures took shape. 3 meters tall, gray armor, large sabers in their hands. They had no faces, no flesh, only mist condensed into shape, with the green flame burning at the chest. The appraisal would read Greatsword Mist Soldier, condensed from the mist, other information unknown. The Shadowback Giant Ape had no patience for mist soldiers appearing inside its lair. Their auras were no weaker than its own, but the ape was on the cusp of breakthrough, gaining power with every second. Before the mist soldiers could brace, the ape roared and slammed into them like a truck. One mist soldier crashed into the cave wall, breaking a deep pocket in the stone. The ape spun and drove the second mist soldier into the ground, with one punch. Take their lives while they are down. The ape did not slow. The fists kept landing on the pinned mist soldier. Then the soldier swung its long saber from the ground up, sending a gray blade light slashing at the ape, opening a long bloody cut down its abdomen. The other mist soldier burst out of the cave wall and the pincer closed. The ape roared, near excellent tier strength erupting. Its hands caught the long saber of one soldier and ripped it free. With the captured saber, it engaged the other soldier, blade light and blood shadows tangling in the cave. Before the saber could even warm in its grip, the blade dispersed into mist and reformed in its original owner's hand. As the stalemate held, the mist outside the cave surged inward. Cloud after cloud of mist poured into the soldiers' bodies and their auras began to climb. The saber attacks turned vicious. The ape was brave but losing ground, wounds compounding, its eyes hardened, knowing only one truth, pushed to excellent, and the soldiers stopped mattering. It held the pain and waited for the breakthrough, ready to complete its final shift in the worst possible moment. The earth trembled. The shock crushed the stones to powder, dust covering the entire hill. The creatures usually active in the Mist Continent night went into hiding because they could feel the aura of this battle. A crack. While taking a direct blade hit, the ape flipped one Mist soldier away, turned, and snapped the neck of the other. The fight paused. The ape's dark chest heaved. Its crimson eyes scanned through the dust, and a low growl rolled out of its throat. Then it leapt back dozens of meters. In the next instant, the soldier it had just thrown brought its blade down on the spot the ape had been standing. The ape tried to chase up with an attack, but its pupils contracted. The Mist soldier whose neck it had snapped was climbing out of the deep pit, broken armor at its neck repairing itself at a visible speed. The two Mist soldiers stood side by side again, their movements synchronized as they raised their sabers. The cold light on the blades alone sharp enough to slice air. The ghost fire in the left Mist soldier's chest flickered, and it spoke in an unknown language. Mist prohibition. Native creatures are forbidden from breaking through to the excellent foundation. Back inside my shelter, I do not know any of this yet. I do know the building is shaking. I steady myself fast after the first shock. I open the exchange and start hunting items that can stabilize the shelter, and I shout in the world chat for buy orders. My shelter is built on heavy elite-grade materials and is sturdier than a common level 3 by default. But even so, the continuous tremor has it leaning. I do not know what is happening, but going by Big Orange's behavior, something has broken out on the left. The earthquake will not pause for me to think. I can already hear roof tiles smashing on the dirt outside. Sit here and the shelter goes. Lose the shelter on the Mist Continent, and the rest is short. I scan defensive items at speed. The cooldown clicks and I rebroadcast to world and regional. Brother Killer pings me wanting an explanation, but I do not have time. The tile crashes get louder. The wood creaks. Sub-zero temperature and cold sweat on my forehead at the same time. The critical the moment, the calmer I have to be. My hands stay steady on the communicator. Found it. Shelter light barrier, elite grade. Forms a defensive light barrier within 5 meters of the shelter. The barrier isolates most external attacks. Normal duration 30 minutes. Shortens with impact intensity. One-time use. Strong enough to isolate this kind of impact. Seller's asking price is any elite offensive item. No time to bargain. I trade in the repeating crossbow on the spot. In raw value, I am bleeding. The crossbow is a ranged elite offensive weapon. The barrier is gone after one use. But for me right now, it is the only correct choice. The light barrier is a pale blue bead. The instant the trade clears, I crush it. The bead turns into a ball of light and expands until it sheathes the whole shelter. The earthquake stops at the line. The tremors break against the barrier, raising faint blue ripples. The barrier reads, in use, currently under attack. Estimated remaining duration 25 minutes. Only now does my heart climb down. As the adrenaline drains, I notice my clothes are soaked through. I bear the cold long enough to restart the fireplace and change. Then I open the shelter page. Level 3 shelter, forest cottage, damaged. Half stone, half wood, with reinforced steel, slight damage from external force erosion. Repair materials, 30 wood, 20 stone. Currents, 10 wood, 0 stone. Repair time, 10 minutes. Fortunately, the time the shelter was exposed to the shaking was short and repairs cheap. From the start of the earthquake to my buying the barrier was about 5 minutes. Outside the barrier, the earthquake is still going and faint roars carry in. About that, I can do nothing. I have done what I can and the rest is the world's call. It is in this moment that I feel my own smallness. I had been pleased with my development, and reality slaps the satisfaction off me. On the Mist Continent, I am still in the ant tier with the rest. A slightly stronger ant is still an ant. The communicator buzzes. Brother Killer. He has asked about me 3 times already. Chongrang, is your shelter under attack? Is that why you are buying defensive items? If you can spare a hand, send me a safety check. I smile, having a friend is alright after all. I tell him an earthquake just hit. Special circumstances, it has been resolved. What happened? I thought you were a goner. Do not worry, I quip. I believe in Brother Chun. It is not that easy for me to kick the bucket. Cut the crap and tell me what is going on. I tell him the whole thing, Big Orange's reaction included. He thinks a moment. It should be the unknown creature near your shelter, encountered a powerful enemy, and the earthquake is from their fight. I tell him that is my guess too, but what grade of creature would put off this much impact? And didn't he meet an excellent grade evergreen tree demon before? Does the tree demon have this kind of power? Brother Killer reads my message and gets a little awkward. He confesses he could not even read the tree demon's strength back then. He was thoroughly dominated, but in his estimation, a tree demon should not be capable of this. Could there be an excellent monster near me? I ask, and not just one. How am I supposed to survive? He thinks it should not be excellent. The gap between grades is huge. Maybe the tree demon he met had just barely reached excellent, while the creature near me might be at the peak of excellent. I want to cry without tears. Is there a difference for me? Either way, I get squashed. Do not worry, see how things go first. I cannot just wait and see, I tell him. I should move shelter as soon as possible. That is actually why I contacted you today. Take a look at this item. He does not send info, he gives me the item directly. I traded my Flameburst Great Saber for it today. It should be useful to you. Before I even check the info, I am stunned by what he said. Are you crazy you traded the Flameburst Great Saber? With his skills, the Vampire Bloodline's regeneration, and the Flameburst Great Saber, he could practically walk sideways as long as he kept away from excellent tier entities. The saber was the offensive backbone covering his lack of brute force. Brother Killer laughs. I was thinking the item would be of great use to both of us. Besides, the Flameburst Great Saber never quite suited my style. Do not forget, I am an assassin. Short weapons are my specialty. But do not be indecisive. You gave me your spring water without flinching, and this is not a gift, it is a loan. Remember to return it when you are done. I sit and stare at the screen. Finally, I can only murmur. A peach for a plum. People of the underworld really do have a sense of propriety. Hawkeye map, excellent grade. Centered on the user's shelter, displays a real-time dynamic map of the surrounding 5-kilometer area, with the ability to zoom in on specific sections. Cannot observe blind spots like indoors, underground, caves. Good stuff. I cannot help saying it out loud. The map in my hand has the texture of a parchment scroll. This is exactly the excellent item Brother Killer traded the saber for. The use cases are huge. Real-time imagery like a surveillance camera. It would tell me exactly what is happening on the left, whether other dangerous creatures are around, where the resources are, and a suitable relocation site. What a great item. Brother Killer did not lose on this trade. How did the other party agree to it? The Flameburst Great Saber is single-use offensive. The Hawkeye map is broadly useful to anyone. The answer surfaces after a moment. The map's biggest benefit is the initial pass. The seller has already scanned everything around their shelter. All dangers and resources mapped in their mind. Primary value extracted. They can move it. Brother Killer's trade is still a win, because the two of us can pass the map back and forth, effectively doubling efficiency. I slowly unroll the map. The first thing I see is a red 5-pointed star, my current shelter. The images on the parchment are not still, they move. When I zoom on a point, I can see leaves swaying. I spend a minute learning the controls, then inspect the left side starting 1 kilometer out. The map's vision is not affected by darkness. Surface objects come through clearly.